able to find one in the action with the next 3 down.
Guys, what? 4-2. Oh, another slam. Neutral. Yes!
I mean, they have to go for him and push him into the
Well, I thought this one didn't work out.
Pushing up on the top.
Oh, but that. Oh, that's behind. Is he in the crawl? Oh!
Trying to fight his demons here on the shield. Just a little bit of whipping going on. 1 HP.
Ooh, but now. Underwater. Oh!
Stop the breach. Takes him.
I thought just a second thing. On the bottom. 2v2. 10 seconds left. Have the flash. What a
He goes out. Able to find one in the action with him here. That's 3 down.
It's the retry. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to Midwest R6. How are we doing here? We got two lovely teams here today. We got BGSU versus Lindenwood. My name is Platypus, bringing you the new standard, and I am joined tonight by my lovely co-caster Lucas. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, what's good? I'm looking forward to a great game tonight.
Glad to hear it. Well, we have a little bit of info about these teams because this has been going on for a little while. So we got BGSU Varsity versus Lindenwood R6. And as you can see here, our standings are definitely something to take interest in. BGSU is 1-5, which not amazing. And just very quickly followed by 0-6 for Lindenwood. Also not amazing. However, and I mean, to be fair, there's got to be these teams, and they're the two last teams in Division 1, as we'll see right here. And while all these teams, you can always expect the best in leagues and everything, but there's got to be the last of the pack when it comes down to it. There's no good way to say it when you get into the nitty-gritty. There's always a team that's going to be towards the last, and we are coming up on those teams, unfortunately, tonight. Well, how do you think this is going to be going, Lucas?
Well, firstly, I want to say I think it's very interesting how BGSU have managed to claim victory. However, they are only one round ahead in the round differential. But honestly, I'm looking forward to a good matchup. It seems these teams are pretty close to evenly matched. I think it'll be a great game tonight, and I can't wait to get right into it.
I couldn't agree more. And it's definitely going to be something to see because both of these teams are fighting to keep out of last place. I can only imagine. I'm not aware whether BGSU is able to get out, or excuse me, Lindenwood's able to get out of this last place spot if they win tonight. However, it'll definitely give them a little bit of hope, I feel. However, we're going to be able to jump in and see the team rosters, see what we're looking at. On the side of BGSU, we got Butters, Shaggy, Bandrews, Coffee, and Enrock. With the team MVP coming in with Coffee, sitting at 80 and 76, just keeping in there with that 1.05 KD. And overall, just a nice little spread. And Lindenwood R6 also coming in with Clipped, Tear. That's my wonder here. But either way, we also have Rain, Mike, and Off Phoenix. It's tier. Got you. With the team MVP being Rain, sitting at 77 and 74, even just more narrowly keeping that KD alive. And we also have our fun map bands today. We are closing with Oregon, Border, and Villa being our maps. All maps that make sense and aren't entirely one-sided for strat-wise or for just gun-wise. Pretty evened out. We always see Oregon, and you often see Villa. Border, however, a little bit not the most picked, but not the least picked. What do you think about these, Lucas?
I'm liking these maps, honestly. I feel like Oregon, it can be a very strong map. I feel it's quite defender sided, but there's also a lot of place to push. So I feel like that's probably going to be the most eventful of all the maps. Border in itself, I haven't seen that played a lot, but I do personally I do enjoy the map. I think there's a lot of places to hide, but also a lot to push from. And then finally with Villa, if we get to it, that was always my team's favorite map. So if we end up going down to that decider, I can't wait to, get into that, kind of relive a little bit of my past with the team.
Well, I mean, based upon these teams' records as well as their team MVPs, they seem pretty evened out for the most part. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see these guys go up against each other, especially considering how standard of maps these are. Because we have Oregon, which is so lovingly named Oregon often, just because of how typical it is, how standard of a map it is. Then you go to Border. It's not so much that decisive and simple map that is played day in and day out. It's more off the wall. It's a little bit one that is going to definitely show who's coming out of the woodwork, who's able to get a hold on these more um not to say random setups, but a little bit more decisive ones for their team specifically rather than just the default setups, assuming. And then finally for Villa, again, similar to Oregon, it's more a static, nothing to see here type of map, I'd say.
I would definitely agree on all of those points. I can't wait to see if some team's going to try pro league setups, while some might try ranked setups. Obviously, ranked and pro league are very different, so that's definitely something I believe teams would have taken into account. But it'll be very interesting to see whether they have certain setups that like most players would know, or if they tend to like adapt those setups to their team composition.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see kind of if one team does one team does the other, if they both do the same, that kind of thing.
Right. And I mean, it definitely comes down to the teams and how they perform as a team in general. If they're going to play that aggressive rank stack style, then that's going to work a lot better for them than a full fleshed out pro league set. We also do have a couple things for the polls and such that we like to do with the staff and otherwise. We see a very one-sided vote for BGSU by the majority of staff. However, records aren't looking too stellar for some of these, so we might see a bit of an upset.
We still got a 0%, no more 100s, but we still got a 0, so we'll see
I
if that
mean,
stays.
you can always be the first, even if you're first and last.
Honestly, at that point, I would just try to get everything else wrong. I feel like you're that far in, just let's keep it going. I'm coasting right now. I'm 3-3 with 50%. Not great. I don't think it's awful, but you
I
know.
mean, I'm hanging in there. I think for the majority of things, I've just been guessing. I'm sitting 4-2. It's not too shabby, but we're hanging in there. Or I believe, without too much further ado, we do have a charity event coming up. I believe April 29th, which is going to be presented by Feeding America. Just to a very amazing charity event that we've been so lucky to be holding, and I believe signups are in the Discord if any teams are interested in participating and getting a little bit more done for that. And then we finally do have the Road to Finals to be able to have the playoffs, the dates, and then the charity event dates as well. And then I believe if there is no further ado, we are going to be hopping right into this game, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. So what do you think that we're going to be seeing mostly here, Lucas, to start this off going into Oregon?
Honestly, I don't want to predict beforehand because I feel like I'm gonna get it wrong. But if
Oh no, please do. The floor is yours.
let's see. I expect there to be a decent amount of gunfights taken on. I feel like teams are gonna get pretty aggressive pretty early on. Of course, when I say that, they're gonna do the complete opposite. But I feel like we're gonna see some early aggression. Potentially, some swinging, some peaks that could definitely go like 50-50 either way. So I'm hoping to see some of that because it always makes the casting job a little bit more fun seeing those. But
Right, I couldn't agree more. We're going to be seeing the Ying ban coming out very early. Makes a lot of sense for the majority of this map, and a very targeted ban for Lindenwood because they're really saying no to a lot of aggressive playstyles, as you see here. Especially with the accompanied Dokkaebi ban coming out by BGSU. That's going to be very specific.
it's a lot of times when I'm seeing these bans, it's usually the defense bans tend to stay about the same, but the offense bans with most games I've casted tend to be pretty different. I don't know if it's more of a measure of, like the standard play style, like the standard pro league ban. I think it might be more to counter essentially how they've been hit hard as opposed to what you would usually see in like pro league settings, if that makes sense.
No, I get what you're saying. We're also going to be seeing the Valk ban and the Mira ban, both very understandable in terms of their standard use. And honestly, nothing too surprising.
Uh, with on Oregon, I honestly was surprised to see that there wasn't a Flores ban because specifically in basement, if they're playing elbow with the shield there, Flores
Right.
can be very powerful to take that out. Anytime I'm in ranked, I always play the Flores because I'm pretty good at taking out that shield. So it was just a little bit interesting to see that wasn't one of the main bans.
And I mean, they just must not be too worried about it. Which, to be honest, if you can hold that main and be able to play that elbow as well as you can with like a mute, or even just like barbed wire to be able to stop it up and then shoot it before it gets to the shield, then that's not too big of a worry. However, they are going to be running upstairs first to be able to open up round one, which is going to be a very interesting hold. We don't see anything too out of the ordinary. We have a smoke, we have a mute, we have a Jaeger, the Aruni, and then the Azami to follow, as Azami is in play this time around. How do you think that's going to be affecting the main hold here, Lucas?
Honestly, I don't generally see a lot of Azami play because she's generally banned in a lot of these games. So I think it could definitely impact the round a great deal.
I would say probably the majority of this match in general. As you know, those Kiba barriers are so very useful to be able to set up and edit the site as a whole, to be able to force the attack into something they're not exactly comfortable. However, Phoenix is going to take the first damage of this series, being just a little bit worse for wear, but still hanging in there as he's able to get out of dodge and get back into sight before being completely cut off. We're going to be being able to play that trophy shield, but also falling off relatively quickly. Not sure what the relative play is, though.
Now I see the Brava play over here. How do you think that will affect the match?
So, the thing about Brava, she is such an interesting operator. As you know, she is the newest operator, and she's able to use those clutch drones to be able to hack. Hold on, we're gonna come back to that for a second because Butters gets an amazing kill from a nade below onto Phoenix, and I couldn't just gloss over that. However, the clutch drones by Brava are able to hack defender gadgets and churn them for their good. Butters trying to get a third right here on Z side. Spots the Jaeger on bottom white. However, they're able to get right back up to sight. Florinade getting ready again. Will it connect? No, it will not. However, Coffee is going to connect onto Tier, putting this into a 5v2 with just a minute left. Now turn quickly into a 5v1 with Clip all alone. He's going to grab one on the trade, but he will still be cut down by Butters, who nets himself 4 kills on a very dominant first round. What are we thinking about this, Lucas?
Honestly, I thought that was a pretty good round to start it off. I generally like seeing it be, a little more even, especially with how closely how we saw the standings and how close these teams were. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the match progresses in the exact same way, where it's just kind of a domination by BGSU, or if Lindenwood, takes it back, or at least makes it more even,
Right. I mean, of course, there's still a lot of match to be played, and a lot of series to be played, no less. However, that was such a big power play to really start off for BGSU. Because, of course, Butters on that Yana opening up with a Florinade, and then basically just steamrolling out all the way from Classroom up white, cutting down Jaeger all the way, chasing him all the way back from Z. That's some heavy dominance that they just gave out right away.
Yeah, but if I've learned anything from my days of casting, it's that you cannot base a game off of a single round.
Oh, most assuredly.
I've seen games that I thought it was so far one way, and then the other team just comes, takes it back, and ends up winning the game. It's kind of crazy how often that happens.
Those are the best games, honestly. Those are like some of the most fun I have casting games, when you never know what the result is, when you know it's a little bit unsure, when you know these teams are very close to each other. And Asami trying to get this view. Tier playing really close on that Kiba barrier, trying to do what they can to get a little sightline on it, but it's not going to work out for them, so it looks like they're just going to reinforce it. However, the main breach is going to be open. Rain playing that ridiculously close with the shotgun. Toxic Babes in hand. One will go out just over the 2-minute mark now. Able to draw out good utility. While Ace is still sitting on drones. Knows that Rain is here and giving all the information to the rest of his attackers to be able to lock him down. Both Coffee and Shaggy taking a little bit of damage out from that toxic canister through the hole for breach. Florinade going out, not exactly effective, hurting Rain a little bit, and Bandrews is going to knock out Tier in the meantime. Rain looking a little bit worse for wear. Third Toxic Babe going out and playing this breach as best as he can, as aggressively as possible as well. Being able to hold both Coffee and Shaggy very closely on the door. Butters is going to take a lot of damage and be knocked down. However, Rain is going to be knocked out by Coffee, and Phoenix will follow as Butters is finally finished off into a quick 4v2 with just a minute left. Quickly turned into a 3v1 by Shaggy, and now it's just Clipped all alone yet again, but Shaggy is going to cut him out again. And that's another BGSU victory.
Now, as I was saying before, I feel like Oregon is a little bit more defender-sided, so I feel like Lindenwood kind of need to step it up and start winning a few of these defense rounds, because if they end up at a deficit once they're done with their defense rounds, it's going to be so much harder to come back on the attack.
I mean, I can't agree more. It's definitely interesting to be able to have to fight your entire way from an attacking side. And that's the thing. BGSU is doing such a great job making the pressure, giving Lindenwood something to worry about, because you already put up 2 rounds on attack, and on Lindenwood's defense, and that's not what you want to be seeing if you're a fan of Lindenwood, because especially on a map like Oregon, the defense should be such a solid hold and such a static, disciplined play, and we're not seeing something that is undisciplined. Right now, we're seeing BGSU being so dominant. And that's okay, because BGSU is playing amazingly well in these first 2 rounds. However, Lindenwood will have to step this up if they're going to get any sort of advantage coming into this first half. Otherwise, they're going to be chasing a lot in the second half.
In all honesty, I don't think Lindenwood's setups are bad. I don't think they're holding it terribly. I just think that BGSU has kind of been going in, and they just kind of know exactly what to do. It seems like, they've all, woke up on the right side of the bed feeling good, whereas Lindenwood's just kind of struggling to keep up with them.
And I mean, BGSU is doing a great job at picking apart these defenses. They're playing careful, as we see here, Butters being able to play this top freezer so very carefully, whereas there is no opposition, but he's not aware. The drones are just now going for him, and he's playing that otherwise so carefully as to not get caught unaware. Interesting enough, not checking the pre-fire angle up until just a second now, and possibly could have potentially lost a head because of that. But he'll still be staying alive for now, and we're just about over half the round, and there's been no casualties on either side. That's very interesting.
There's the second explosive kill we've seen in the game. Rain getting the nitro off on Butters, knocking out who seemed to be their most dominant player at this point.
And I mean, as a solid entry, it makes sense. However, they haven't gotten a kill since round 1 when they kind of just ran the floor. However, Tyr will be knocked out as well, which is definitely still a good pick for BGSU. Ooh, and Rain playing very close with the shotgun in the SMG-11, but no, cut down by Shaggy. Just under a minute left. Put in a 3v3 still. Shaggy spraying those head holes all the way into Closet. Sitting at very low health. Being held on every which way. Toxic Babes coming out by Mike. And Smokes now going in by Banjo. Shaggy able to take out Phoenix as well. Put a triple kill on his kill record. Mike's taken out by Coffee. And set at 30 seconds remaining. Banjo's on the ground, but clipped again, the last one for the 3rd time in a row. Cut down by BGSU.
Do we think it's the sites they're choosing? Do we think it's the site setup? Like, do we think they're just not holding it? What do we think is Lindenwood's flaw here? Or do they not really have any flaws? It's just BGSU is being so dominant. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, I think it is entirely BGSU here. They're not playing bad, or Lindenwood. They're not doing anything that is showing me like major flaws. They're playing well. They're playing setup. The only oopsies I've seen right there is Rain has hurt himself with an impact. Not a great way to start.
I mean, it happens. You see that all the time. Back before Rook had his pick up armor thing, I'd put it down and then I'd accidentally throw an impact and hurt myself 45 health, destroy the armor with it.
Yup.
Know that feeling all too well.
How things change though. But that's the thing. Lindenwood isn't playing bad. They're playing smart, and they're still getting those picks. However, BGSU is playing in such a way that they are covering and peeking and double peeking and triple peeking anything that Lindenwood has eyes on. As you even saw at the bottom of Freezer Stairs, you had Smoke on the hands of Rain playing that so closely with the SMG-11 and the shotgun. He picked up one, he went for the second. Oh, and a big kill by Rain early on to Butters. That's a great roam kill right here. If he's able to get himself back to site or even just waste time like this is a very successful roam. As you know, with a lot of these roams, it is simply about wasting time, wasting utility, and potentially getting a kill. Even if the roamer goes down it's about getting these kills early.
Yeah, for any of you bronze silver players watching out there, roamers aren't necessarily meant to get kills, they're just meant to waste the time. One of the biggest things that put me over the edge into, low gold is knowing that I just have to waste time as a roamer. Don't worry about kills, just worry about not letting them get to the site.
However, Coffee will make use of as much time as possible and take Rain off the floor so that you can get a little bit more control over the map attacker-wise. Being able to get that roamer off the play as early as possible, even losing one of your main entries. Being able to get that roamer off the floor is definitely helpful in a timely manner because that just opens up much more control that now BGSU has to work with. Grim with the launcher that I can't quite remember the name of because you don't see it ever.
The Koan Hive launcher, I believe, is the name. And the only times I see people playing Grim is because of the commando with the extended barrel buff. Now it's 54 damage.
And you give them a 1.5 a 2 times now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yubi, you know what you're doing. That's the only way they're gonna get played. Because the Hive launcher is great. It helps with holding that far back push, whether it be on closet, through the head holes, on back, like in that laundry wall area. And for other maps as well, it's useful to get that attack or that defense just to move and fall back a bit. However, in competitive play, it seems to fall short. And we're seeing a slew of kills. Clipped left all alone for his 4th time. I don't take it that's any sort of coincidence or any sort of anything. I feel like that's mostly just bad luck.
Jeez, I was thinking we were going to see a close game, and right now I'm really not seeing it. And like you said, I really don't think Lindenwood's too much at fault. To me, it's BGSU is just so dominant. I see there could be potential with a lot of what Lindenwood's doing. It's not necessarily. It's a lot of strats that I've seen before. The standard setup of the site. But I feel like there's potential. They're not making it work for their team. And they're just kind of going with what works for others and not really adapting it to themselves. Would you agree with that? Or
I would. One thing I'm seeing is, though, now that BGSU has put up 4 so early, I feel like what we're going to be seeing here is a lot of Lindenwood second guessing, triple guessing, quadruple guessing themselves when they think things are looking fine. As we even saw there with Clipped at the end of last round. Not to say he was walking almost unsure of where he was going, but I can't help but wonder if he was just a little bit worried because he's all alone. Rain being a little bit nasty here, a little bit cheeky, and it's not gonna work out as Coffee shuts him down.
I think at this point, I think BGSU might start getting a little cocky because they can, as you see with the score, they can definitely afford to lose a few rounds and still stay very much in the game. How cocky each one of them will get, that remains to be seen, and maybe that's the only cockiness we see with that.
To be honest, as quickly as he was shut down, you can't be caught doing that again. That's one of those things that is only gonna work once even. And to be honest, it didn't even work the once. And I honestly think if BGSU lets that get them any time after being able to shut it down that quickly, it's just gonna blow up in their face.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. I know with a lot of the lower level players I see they try to peek those angles 2, 3, 4 times, and it just never works, and they continue to do it.
Right.
Right here, we're gonna see a few. We're gonna see a few picks. 3 players on BGSU now taken out. Shaggy, Coffee, and Butters. All completely taken out. After that first round, Butters has just been dying over and over again. He got the 4 kills the first round and has now just seemed to shadow what he was that first round.
Noct also taking out Clipped, which is the only time Clipped has been the player to not be last, and now put into a 1v3 with Bandrews all alone. He has 3 to grab, and the time is not looking great for him. He still has to get into the building, which is already great enough because he's giving away his position as we speak. But then he still has to make something happen. The health isn't looking too great for him. He's going to hop down and try to figure out a little bit better of a way to go about this. Maybe go up white stairs and see if he can do anything about it. However, he's going to start shooting through the floor as a maybe desperate attempt to grab anyone. And I believe this is going to be a Lindenwood victory, honestly, here.
There we go. First
And
round
there
for
it is.
Lindenwood.
Lindenwood's first defensive victory. They got it. They really did it.
But
But
with
do you-
the... Sorry,
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, with the 4-1 deficit now, they have one more defense round. There's no way that they're going to even be able to tie this up when they switch to attack. So hopefully we see some good attack strats and they can maybe get a few rounds back. But honestly, even with that round, winning it with 3 people left, I'm not sure they're going to be able to pull that off for the rest of the game.
I mean, but that's the thing. This could be the start of a big momentum shift. Because we saw second floor twice already. And then we can continue, to see basement twice, all ending in BGSU victories. However, Lindenwood was able to finally get a dominant round. And I can't help but wonder, was that the momentum they needed to switch this around into their favor just a little bit? Because they're going back into basement, possibly being a little bit more confident than they were. And I can't, I can't help but wonder if something's clicked, if something's changed. What are they going to be showing us this time to make sure this basement works?
Sounded interesting. They're not opting to play the shoulder. They're not opting to play elbow with the shield, instead reinforcing it off. Do you think that'll have a bearing on who will win the round?
No, not really. Because Blitz is going to be running right in there, and no one's going to be any hurt by that. Bandrew's just on a tear right now. Finds a couple. Bandrews will be able to pick up one after they're already down, but quickly picked out by Mike. Butter's also falling to the hands of somebody, I'm not sure, but Coffee grabbing a couple. Rain being able to get a little bit of a thing going on, and BGSU is just gonna steamroll with a very aggressive rush and nothing to answer.
What a quick round that was. I see it in every rank. I've seen it copper, I've seen it bronze, silver, gold, all the way up through plat, emerald, even diamond. I see it. A lot of these teams, they'll play cautiously a little bit. They'll try to take it slow. And then a lot of these defense rounds, they just get absolutely steamrolled because the rush is just so fast and they can't cope because they're still fiddling with setup or still trying to position themselves. And I see it all the time, and in every rank it seems to be a pretty powerful strategy, which I find quite interesting, especially for teams of this caliber.
Right, and one thing I didn't note last round, we had Butters on the Amaru, and they had the Supernova with the brick, which is my personal favorite gun in existence of this game. And we also see Coffee with the Supernova with the brick. And I couldn't be more excited.
See, right now we're having Wamai, or as I like to call him, Whammy, peeking out the top of Big Tower. I'm curious to see if we'll get any picks.
I can only hope so. Assuming he's playing that as aggressively as he is. The thing about that is he's likely going to be pushed pretty hard. Because you're not going to be able to play that aggressive type of hold without any sort of answer. However, Lindenwood is going to ignore the most of it, getting straight into Trophy, getting straight into Closet. Phoenix seeing the head of someone playing into Attic, and not taking any shots, possibly just not even seeing that he was there. However, breach will still be opened. And Lindenwood is just trying to get their map control going off and to try and get a little bit of site control moving on.
Butter's taking a little bit of damage from an explosive. Seeing another nade go out. This one not necessarily doing any damage to anyone. Maybe just trying to exert some pressure. Oh, and right there, Mitch taking out Butters with the frag. I've seen higher than average amount of explosive kills here.
I mean, we've seen a couple already. However, Shaggy's gonna hop in, or excuse me, Taylor's gonna hop in and getting taken out by Shaggy. However, Rain's gonna quickly get a refrag onto Coffee and have main site control. Phoenix being able to get this plant going off. It's a 3v4 and a full retake situation for BGSU in a big man disadvantage now. Sitting at just 40 seconds plus the 7-second differential they need to be able to defuse. They have 3 more to go as Shaggy is able to pick up Rain and knock him off the board, taking Sledge off play. And I believe the frags in pocket still. Some shots going out by Phoenix. And a definite split hold here, but Bandrews is taken out, and so is Shaggy for a Lindenwood victory. Definitely looked a lot better on attack this time.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, a lot of what I'm seeing is, like I mentioned before, explosives, and then there's a lot of vertical play. I think really whichever team can end up dominating that vertical play is going to be the one that ends up victorious. And as we saw that last round, where BGSU needed to play retake, playing retake as an once you get the diffuser down, it's a lot of attackers are the defenders and defenders are the attackers. And with a defense-sided map, you don't want to play retake on, especially a site like this that there are two, maybe 3 ways to be able to retake from. Because if they have enough players, they can just hold all those angles. And with the time component, we see teams start to panic. I see it all the time. It was just not a good situation at all.
And I mean, I can't disagree whatsoever. BGSU is looking really, really collected. However, that attack, from what we've seen of this first half, the attack we just saw by BGSU was, or excuse me, the defense that we saw by BGSU was so uncharacteristic. They played a lot of ways that Lindenwood was able to immediately take advantage of. A very unfortunate drone throw there by the hands of Rain. Unfortunate for them. However, but like that's the thing. It's very uncharacteristic that BGSU let that slip so easily and turn that into a massive retake situation, clipped on a little bit of a whiff on the EMP. However, the second one landing correctly to be able to get that wall open. Just not to be honest here, I feel like there's a lot of sloppiness going on here, and it's working that Lindenwood is able to win a couple of these rounds and working really well for BGSU to be able to take these rounds, but there's not anything that is like blowing my socks off right now, Lucas.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a lot of careful play, it seems. From there, we already see off Phoenix getting taken out from the attic. But for the most part, it seems a lot of both the teams are playing pretty slowly, pretty, making sure every movement's calculated, staying composed, and not really taking on these gunfights that they were apt to take on in the first few rounds.
And the thing I'm very curious about here is this, not to say it's more what I expected, but it's more how I expected BGSU to have their setup, to play these angles, because Lindenwood is really stalling right now. You see, they are finally able to push into attic and get a trophy hold and to get a closet hold. Toxic Babe coming out and really stalling Maverick in closet. in attic, but Butters will be able to take him out from below through the hatch with just a minute left, putting this into a 5v3. The majority of Lindenwood stalling out pretty heavily over by Trophy Side, over by attic, and over by closet, and Narok is going to peek in. Clip is going to get a refrag. Mike's taking a little bit of damage into attic. However, it's still not looking great for Lindenwood. They're sitting at 4v2 with just 30 seconds left. Not too much to go to be able to make something happen. Mike is going on a big flank. Interesting enough to have that at such a late point in the round, but throwing away his spot and basically eliminating all ways to set up crossfires with Clipped. And Shaggy is going to cut down Mike and put Clipped into a 3v1 with 5 seconds left. That is shut down by Bandrew's shotgun.
Oh, seeing those shotgun kills, it's always nice to see. There's something about it. Getting a shotgun kill is just so satisfying. Seeing the body fly back, seeing the round one. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it's always just so satisfying to see it. You know, as you said, personal. I would agree with you. Personal favorite being the supernova with the brick, but. You know, really any of those shotgun kills, it's so satisfying to just see those.
Right, and that's the thing here, looking at this. BGSU is now on map point, which is such a great spot to be set up in now already, especially being on their defensive half, because Lindenwood is going to have to play the entirety of this remainder for the map as perfect as they really can, which, given the circumstances, I don't think if that's going to churn out the way Lindenwood wants it to. Because if you look at the probability of winning 4 attacking rounds in a row to take this to overtime, that's not good chances, to be honest with you. Especially how aggressively BGSU is getting set up here. Coffee playing aggressive shield on this bunker hold, and it's definitely going to be droned out, but it still might be walked right into. It's going to be interesting to see how Lindenwood decides to take this. You have 2 playing in the majority of bunker. Toxic Babe being ready to be thrown. Trying to give a little bit of pressure onto Tier out on that bunker side. Shaggy playing close as well, but none of the attackers are showing themselves too much. They're getting some drones in, getting some good utility, and RCE Arteo drone coming out, knocking out that shield, making Coffee have to play a little bit more careful. The mute jammer's not doing too much. However, Coffee's gonna sprint out a little bit, but be unsuccessful and fall right back in. Tier going on a offside through T1 with another one of his comrades to be able, 2 of his comrades, to be able to get something moving.
Hibana now getting the hatch above E-Box. It'll be interesting to see. I'm a little intrigued they didn't play any electrification here, especially because that hatch can always be so beneficial to the attacking side if they get it open, because that's where they get that vertical play that we've seen so much of in a lot of these previous rounds. So it'll be interesting to see if that affects the match.
Especially since Kaid is open to play. That is the most interesting thing. And to be honest, I didn't even notice until you said something about it. Mike being able to take out Bandrews, getting a little bit more freezer control. The Goyo now being off the board, and the C4 as well in pocket as a result. Clip being cut down by Coffee all the way by bunker side through from, I believe, back tower stairs. E-Box already open and getting a little bit of pressure onto the bunker wall from E-Box hatch. Coffee being able to take out Rain as well by the same spot. Just even more showing how effective his hold is even all alone. And Tier will be able to pick up 1, but being able to be traded out by Butters, putting this into a 3v2 with just over 30 remaining.
This very much could be match point, game set match, you know. Obviously it remains to be seen, 3 versus 2, but with the time that's going down and the man advantage BGSU has, I don't really see this going any other way. Down to a 3v1. Nitro almost coming off.
10 seconds left. The attacker
Mike's
There-
just getting all alone now. But being pushed by Nrock with that shotgun on some epic range right there.
I swear, with that, going down Laundry Stair, if you're playing defense with a shotgun, you have the craziest range ever. With any shotgun, I had a friend that played with a Supernova and dealt like 200 some damage from 20 meters away just because he swung Laundry. They were in the corner of the stairs, so.
I mean, hey, if it works, it works. However, one thing is for certain, and that is BGSU able to take map 1 so very dominantly. We're going to be heading over to Border next. What do you think we're going to be seeing mostly there as well?
Well, firstly, I want to note that Oregon was BGSU's pick, so it's most definitely a map that they've probably practiced a lot. Now, with Border, this is Lindenwood's pick. I don't think they're going to be as dominant as BGSU were on their map, but I do expect to see a little bit of a closer match.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with Oregon, any team who knows Oregon as standard as the map is going to play well on it, because it's a very disciplined type of map. It's a very static map that really doesn't have any variations. Border, on the other hand, you can change things up. You can fix and mix and match these different strats, these different holds, and these different setups to as your team likes. However your team wants to do it, you can play a more bathroom held type of game where you play the bathroom site and extend a little bit into server, and then when you play that server event, you can extend more into bathroom. That is completely up to these teams' discretions, of course, and it can be completely switched around on how these teams want to work, whether they play a more upstairs game, whether they play a more first floor extended type of game. Hell, even if they want to play it in customs and play that site, which, to be honest, don't know why you would want that. However, it's one of those things. You can do whatever you want with this map, and it changes by team to team and is a completely different map for each different team. So I can only assume that Lindenwood is coming prepared into this map, maybe a little bit more prepared than Oregon. And I can only hope, for their sake and for their fans, that they are going to perform a little bit better, considering it is their map pick.
Yeah, I think something important to note with Border, it's a giant square. It's a cube. It's just a giant cube.
I mean, you're not wrong, to be honest.
But with the all the sites that they have and everything, how vertical play can be important on certain sites and how it doesn't really work on others. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of sites they BGSU, starting defending, that they decide to do. I know second floor is always a very popular pick, but with first floor, there's a lot more leeway with kind of what's good, what's bad. I see Tellers played a lot. I see Workshop played a lot. Customs I don't see as much, but if you know how to hold it, it can still be a very, very good site to hold.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of sites, if they practiced on this map, just what kind of sites they know, what kind of sites they think they can hold, that kind of thing.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. However, if we do not have much further review, assuming these two teams are ready and rearing to go, we're going to be hopping straight into Border very, very soon. However, I believe we're going to have a short break, so we will see you guys soon.
Seconds left. Have the glass.
What
What
a
a
keep goes out.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their designed position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the. Oh, Sludge. Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in. Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestrr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What
Oh, what a
keep
great
goes down.
shot.
Able to find
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their designed position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the. Oh, Sludge. Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
the blitz is in. Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestrr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left.
Have the glass. What
Oh, what a
keep
great
goes down.
shot.
Able to find
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your
Alrighty, and we are back. Midwest R6 for map 2 of BGSU versus Lindenwood. We're going to lovely Border. I almost said Borgen. Well, we already played that. We already got through there. We're done and out of there. And we're
Oregon.
moving on to Border, which is nothing. How do I put this? It's definitely not the type of boring map that the name might suggest with Border. It's going to be quite interesting this time around because we're going to be able to see Lindenwood's map pick and hopefully Lindenwood able to make a sort of comeback for map 2 unless BGSU just entirely plans to run away with it in one way or another.
Now, to be honest, when I hear border, I don't generally think of it being terribly dead or anything because of all the talk about the border I hear on the news, but regardless, that's off topic. Let's get into these bands. Who do you think we're gonna see? Do we think we're gonna see the same? Do we think we're gonna see different?
I don't think we're going to be seeing too much changing. Because, honestly, with these bans, they're going to be pretty static for the most part. And we're going to see that quickly with an OSA coming out.
Already a band that they didn't have the first round, the first match.
Right. And, I mean, it makes sense, considering this map and considering how useful OSA can be in it. Because with as much balcony play as you can have in this map, it makes a lot of sense. Brava, on the other hand, not a ban I would really expect. Something I wasn't exactly prepared for, and just something interesting in general.
Honestly, though, I think the Brava ban, I think that's a good one because as we saw, there was a lot of Brava play by BGSU on attack, so I could definitely see the Brava ban being impactful. Now, a Capcan ban. We know that Capcan can be powerful on border, but I don't usually see him banned in, uh, ranks higher than, say, Platinum, usually.
I mean,
So,
it depends, because, as you know, people don't like looking down. However, Mira is going to be banned. That is nothing short of a static ban, and no surprise whatsoever. I'm still, I'm pretty intrigued by that Capcan ban, because that's not something you really expect to be seeing. And honestly, I'm okay with it. The Brava ban, also not something you overly expect to be seeing, but is definitely interesting to say the least.
all right, we are now into the prep phase of our first round. It'll be interesting to see kind of what the site setups will be.
Protect your bombs from
Just
being defused
how
by
they
attackers.
how they decide set up. Already we see custom site play.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Like I said, it can be very powerful if you know how to hold it, and it's very possible that this is a site they have practiced for, that they have prepared for. So it'll be interesting to see how well the hold goes.
But that's the thing. I don't have any distrust in BGSU, but with a site like Customs, how entirely do they plan on making this site work? The Solus makes sense, the Castle makes sense, the Rook doesn't make too much sense, but it makes sense overall as just a team play. Butter's playing this just very early off with a quick spawn peek. Is almost gonna lose the fight, barely just seeing the head of Mike, not able to take him out though.
Guess the Rook play makes a little more sense when you realize they're not going to be, on site and they're just going to be spawn peeking because they have that 2 times, but...
Yes and no. Banju's getting hurt a little bit, trying to possibly bandit trick this. Tyr trying to get the exothermic off, but the C4 is going to ring out and take the the exothermic charge off the wall. Another EMP going out, and the Thermite still trying to get this charge going, but Bandit's going to be able to place on the wrong wall, be downed by the exothermic charge, and cleaned up by Rain.
Now we got Sledge breaking open a castle barricade. That castle play, I don't see him a lot in higher ranks. With that armor panel, though, it's still a very, very useful gadget. How do you expect these castle barricades will play into the rest of the round?
I mean, I can only imagine it'll be good for deterring and just wasting time, because that's really what Castle is. However, that's not what Narc is going to be accomplishing, as he is cut down by Phoenix. Coffee able to get the refrag onto Mike, though, putting this into a 3v4. Phoenix being able to jump into into that supply room, able to get a little bit of control. The Legion Mine giving him a little trouble on the end, though. Rain able to get a little bit of stuff going on in to servers, but he's cut down by Coffee, putting this into a 3v2 with just a minute remaining.
I think bringing out that pinch was pretty essential to the round, as even with customs, if you're holding Workshop, that can always be a very powerful hold. So being able to get that pinch between both of them was, I think, that
and
was
a nasty
beneficial.
impact to open up that wall to be able to get that sight onto Clipped where that plant was going off, and here will not be able to close it out as he is also cut down by Shaggy.
Yeah, the impact ended up getting the impact that was put out there ended up getting the last two picks, winning the round for BGSU. So because opening up that line of sight over there, it can be pretty powerful. But as I said before, customs can be extremely powerful if you know how to play it.
I mean, hey, you're not wrong. It worked really well for BGSU. Even as much as I personally did not really believe in it. I didn't believe in the customs, but the customs didn't need the faith. BGSU carried it.
If I'm gonna be honest, I didn't believe in the customs, but I believed in BGSU, and you know.
Very fair. That is a completely different battle to be fighting with that. However, BGSU is going to be running Bathroom Tellers this time around, playing almost seemingly going for any site that isn't Armory, which I can only imagine is a specific move to throw Lindenwood off for the moment. And I can only speculate whether or not they're going to be running into into Armory, or if they're going to be playing Vent next round, assuming they win this Bathroom Tellers.
Now, Bathroom Tellers is an interesting site because you generally are going to want someone playing above the site, if not two people above the site, to really try and keep that control.
Well, I mean, you have that Oryx, which is definitely one of your main roaming operators. However, no one seems to be playing upstairs. No one is on the second floor. There is no presence. There's a lot of presence over by the workshop, and servers area. However, nothing going on upstairs, and Phoenix is going to see just that with his Jackal footprint scanner. He's not going to be seeing any footprints, so he knows that the majority of this upstairs hold is pretty clear.
It's pretty interesting to see them meleeing open the door unless they've droned it out before, because usually on this site you will see an upstairs presence. So to melee that open and create that sound, I would just hope that they've droned out most of it before.
I can only imagine. There is no good reason for them to play so carelessly unless they have this information to go off of, which I can only hope and assume that it is the case. As we see a couple drones around. Oh, and Coffee being cut down by Clipped immediately. Before Coffee even has a chance to react, he is sent out of this round in a quick 4v5. BGSU at a bit of a man disadvantage now, losing their Frost. However, all the main utility other than their guns have been expended already, so it's not going to be any crazy use. Bandrews with a C4 that will not land, and Butters being hurt a little bit worse for wear over in server side, trying to get out of dodge before he is caught unaware. Nade being prepped by Rain, going out, but not getting any sort of gain there. Second one going as well, uncooked, just as a deterrence. And Mite is going to catch Bandrews off-site. Or maybe even on-site through Bathroom. Oh, so there's still quite a bit of off-site play out. Shaggy is cut down by Phoenix. And this is looking to be a Lindenwood round. Put it in a 2v5, possibly a 1v5 as Butters takes a lot of damage, is cut down. And Tyr is getting that plant going, with Narok only one being able to stop it, but is taken out by Tyr immediately post-plant.
I think right here, Lindenwood are starting to see kind of how to play it instead of taking side as they generally try to do over on Oregon. They're now playing with that. They're doing that vertical play. We've seen it a lot before. Bathroom Tellers. If you don't play people upstairs, they can get that vertical control and they can just steamroll the other side, and that's exactly what we saw there.
And I mean, it makes sense. Because BGSU had it very spread out, but they didn't have any upstairs presence. They had Coffee, who tried to get a foothold up there, but he was simply just too late. We're going to be running back into bathroom. Curious to see if they're going to try any sort of upstairs presence this time around. They have Shaggy on the Kaid, and Butters, interestingly enough, on the Vigil, which is very interesting to me. Because as you know, Vigil is a very selfish operator when it comes to competitive, especially in leagues like this. Because other than impacts, Vigil doesn't provide any sorts of positive information to the rest of the team. He's a very selfish op, as his jammer only affects himself, and he is only able to disguise himself from drones. And even then, drones know where he is, just not the exact locations, which can be enough, and often is in the case of Vigil. However, we're seeing a much heavier upstairs presence by BGSU this time around, possibly noticing the fact that that is where their fall came from and are trying to rectify it with a little bit better of a roam this time.
It looks like there might only be one person truly on site, one or two people truly on site. And I've always heard if you can drone out site and find only 2 people on it, if you 5-man push that, those 2 people are not going to be able to hold. So it'll be interesting to see kind of if they've played too much upstairs presence or if it's just right to get the picks they need to win the round.
Well, that's the thing about Bathroom, is it's a very hard site to defend with everyone on site. Butter's taking a lot of damage, possibly from a nade from Rain. Maybe looking to get a run out. However, no one is there for him to run out on. And that's the thing about Bathroom. No one wants to play with all 5 ops on site because it is such a hard thing to hold themselves. Coffee's going to be able to take out Phoenix, but Rain's going to pick up Shaggy in the meantime, taking Kaid and Habana both off the board, which is a very, very big one for BGSU to get that. However, Lindenwood, Rain getting a nice kill onto Coffee, shutting down the Frost yet again, and awaiting the third, dropping from Hatch. From Armory, looks away at a moment that Butters might just be able to catch him off guard. He's waiting for it. He knows that they're around, but he doesn't know exactly where, and he doesn't want to give himself away. Rain's playing very careful, and they still have drone presence. Interesting, because Clipped is getting a massive drone onto site. Tier pushing very close onto site with the Fauna X Skyros is going out, getting those walls open to be able to get a possible plant. Moving on. And Butters being held even more by even more guns at the moment. And all 4 players are sitting in 2 servers.
I find it kind of interesting Lindenwood's strategy this time. So they went upstairs and BGSU were like, okay, we gotta go upstairs, and then they just kind of full on push site, taking workshop and not really bothering with the upstairs. Looks like it's going to work out for them again. Maybe that upstairs presence was a little too much.
And I mean, Lindenwood being able to grab their second round, already looking better than they did on map 1, which may or may not have been a fairly low bar to step over. However, they've stepped over it indeed and have taken the first lead of the evening for their team. And that's the thing. They're looking a little bit calmer, they're looking a bit more collected, and they are doing a much better job at capitalizing over BGSU's faults and their missteps, as we saw exactly in these last 2 rounds, as you stated. When BGSU played a very first floor game, Lindenwood walked all over upstairs and completely locked that down. When BGSU realized that and went upstairs to start holding that, Lindenwood walked all over first floor.
Yeah, and it was just very interesting to see how BGSU tried to cope, but they were just always a step behind Lindenwood. I feel like that's kind of the opposite of what we saw in the first match, where BGSU, like, Lindenwood wasn't playing bad, BGSU was just playing very dominantly, and now we're starting to see a little bit more strategy coming from Lindenwood. I don't know if they're starting to have the drive, maybe it's their map, maybe BGSU is getting a little cocky and playing it a little badly. I really don't know. It could be a factor of all of those. So it'll be interesting to see how this map ends up panning out if Lindenwood can get the victory on this one.
But it makes me wonder, because BGSU had such a successful attack half for Oregon. It makes me wonder if they're primarily an attacking team. Narok is going to be spotted in Tellers and try to get out of there before he is completely locked down. Drones going out left and right, getting all around. Narok is getting pressured more and more from these drones being swung from Tellers that he doesn't even realize quite yet. However, he's going to get a bit of pressure and stay alive as much as possible, taking out his third drone. Good intel kill and good time kill on this roam so far. Butters helping as much as he can, able to get the refrag for Narok, taking out Rain, as Rain was able to take out Narok relatively quickly. But still on this roam with a kill netted on both sides, just 2 minutes remaining. Can really still go either way, especially with Butters on this Oryx, able to hop up through these hatches with his special unique ability and be able to get a little bit better of a hold. Unfortunate Selma placement being knocked out by the Bandit battery just right off the rip. However, the Selma will go off still and get that office opened up. Phoenix is going to be able to take out Butters as well, effectively taking out the main roam force.
Now they seem to be attacking a lot of upstairs, kind of splitting the push as we saw with taking upstairs downstairs, because Rain, hopped into Tellers. So now they're splitting the push because BGSU, they're kind of unsure of what to do. They're just kind of throwing guys all over because they've always been a step behind. Right here we see off Phoenix taking out Maggie.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh my god!
Oh no! Tragedy! Oh no! Tragedy!
Oh, what
for
did we
Lindenwood.
just see? Oh my god!
Wow!
I gotta say, the M870 it's so broken. It's such a good shotgun. There's, when I'm playing Bandit, I always love the MP7, but that shotgun, if you can get into those close quarters, get face to face with someone, that shotgun's gonna win 99 out of 100 times. So I think being able to come out with that play, come up a 2v4, bringing it to a 1v1, I think that was absolutely that was very, very substantial to the round. And with,
you saw how close Bandrews was playing with that M870 on the wall, just waiting, rearing to go for anyone to try and push that breach, and he thought, no, enough is enough. He's gonna peek that, and he's gonna take out the Yana on his second try. He didn't down her in the first, probably scared her to death, put the absolute fear of God into Yana, as he peeked, missed most of his one shot, but able to down with the second, and then still down the Thatcher as well. And then with the immediate double kill by Coffee, to be able just to switch that around so effortlessly for BGSU.
With those kind of attacks, you've always got to be watching your back. A 2v4 can easily turn into a 2v1 if you're not being careful, and in this case, Lindenwood was not being careful enough.
Now this time we're going to be seeing the first vent and server, or workshop rather, hold of the night. And I can only imagine that BGSU is feeling pretty good about this. Bandrew's playing a little bit aggressive with that P12, assuming he still has the M870 in hand, or in pocket rather. Coffee being taken out by Tear, and that's going to knock the Solus off the board, which is very unfortunate. Rock on this Maestro playing very aggressively. Butters also being knocked out in the meantime by Rain, putting this into a whopping 3v5. And Narok being taken out into a 2v5 by Mych. Andrew's walking around with the P12, looking to grab anyone outside of the fray, as Shaggy remains all alone on site. Shaggy taking a lot of damage, put in a really poor position because Bandrews is nowhere in sight, nowhere to help, but Shaggy doesn't care. He's gonna pick up one and then be knocked out into a 1v4 with pistol in hand. Switching to the MA7, trying to grab one, but no, Phoenix is ready, and Lindenwood is going to take that.
Already, we're seeing much of a turnaround of just completely opposite of what we saw the last match. The attack here, now I think Border's a little more even in terms of attack versus defense than say like Oregon was. But realistically, most maps do have a little bit of defensive advantage because attackers have to drone out, get in, hold each other while pushing the site, that kind of thing. And so if BGSU can't pull out these defense rounds on
Attackers need to locate
Lindenwood's
bombs and
actual map choice, it could end up being very hard for them to really push their way to victory, or at least nowhere near as dominantly as they did in the last map and what we saw in Oregon.
I mean, I don't disagree at all. Lindenwood is playing a lot more controlled and overall a lot better this time around. They're giving BGSU a proper run for their money, keeping just one step ahead at each turn. Curious if that claw's actually going to get all three. I don't know that it will. I think it just came slightly short, but I can't really tell. Either way, Lindenwood is still just one step. Oh, it did get it. Okay, that makes me. I thought it looked to be just barely on that metal beam in between the walls, because those act a little funky every now and then, especially even with the electric claws and how far they reach. But still able to get those 5 walls on it.
Now we're seeing a site with Vent Workshop, which is probably the one you need the most upstairs presence on, because every floor is destructible. There's 2 hashes above the workshop. There's just so much that can be done when you're attacking from above. So it's good to see BGSU starting to play with that upstairs presence. But have they overcompensated? Or do we think that this is just right? How do you think the round will play out with 3 upstairs and 2 on site?
I mean, it makes sense, especially for how heavy of a push upstairs we're seeing by Lindenwood right now. All 5 of them are trying to get upstairs, and Mike's going to take out Butters. Bandrews is going to fall off, and you see how quickly that upstairs hold and that upstairs presence by BGSU just liquidated. You lost Butters, you lost a single roamer, and the entire roam of upstairs immediately fell off. They gave up that control without any other indication that anyone's up there. Lindenwood knew that there was quite a few people up here, and are being very careful because of that. Ooh, the claw being able to be thrown just in time, able to take out that secondary breach charge. But Lindenwood still able to have such a heavy attacking presence now upstairs completely.
Right there, we see the pick.
Tyr, you can't have that happen, buddy. Being taken out by a welcome mat. That is just so entirely unfortunate. Still in a technical 2v5. More to the point, a 2v4. Now 1v4. Unless they're able to get the revive off onto Tyr, but it does not look like that is going to be the case. Clipped is the only one nearby enough to make that happen. And it looks like they are going to. However, Tyr's still going to be very worse for wear, sitting at just 20 health in a 1v5.
I find it interesting that, they banned Capcan, who a lot of people play as trap ops, so they're like, whatever, we'll play Frost. Now we see Mitch getting the last kill, headshot, taking out that last member, and that is a flawless round.
And to be fair, Lindenwood definitely earned that half of the map. They definitely played it better. And BGSU is going to have to make something happen now that they're on attack.
It was kind of I mean, Lindenwood, I really thought that they'd be 5-1, but once again, that M870 play that just completely destroyed their attack. Like, I bet if if they end up winning by if BGSU end up bringing this back, winning by 1 round, it'll be very, very interesting to see that, because that round that Lindenwood should have won, they didn't end up. It'll be interesting to see how crucial that round really is, or if it's doesn't play into it much at all.
Right. And already going into this, round 7, the first round of the Switch, and we're already seeing a very different setup. Lindenwood's playing second floor Armory Archives first, which hadn't been played until round 4 of BGSU's defenses, and being played so differently. Remember how I said that this map is so very tailored to how each of these teams want to play it? And we're seeing that right here. We're seeing such a different defensive setup by Lindenwood than BGSU had.
Oh, this right
even
here.
Different attack. With a Glaz, Monty, Ying.
This is a strategy I've seen deployed all the time. It's a smoke plant. They go in, Gridlock protects the outside so that they don't run out the other door.
Right.
Monty goes in, they throw some smokes in, and they end up planting with the Monty standing with a shield right there. The Glaz is there to help pick off anyone that might be throwing explosives and everything.
Ooh, but Ying will be knocked right down by Mike on the Aruni with that trusty M14. Plant's going to be going down by Nrock, and it doesn't look like they're too much of the wiser. However, Clips is still going to peek up and grab them, putting into a 2v4 with Bandrews taking a lot of damage, possibly, I believe, solely by the firebolt by the hands of Shaggy. A little bit of team damage. There's nothing else to give fire damage on the side of Lindenwood. This has been flipped on its head for BGSU. They were looking all right. However, they fell on their head in a 1v4 with a Monty remaining. Pulls out the pistol only to be torn to shreds by Tyr.
In those situations where it's Monty 1 versus any amount 2 to 5, the Monty is, unless the Monty is very, very, very good with hurdling, controlling, that kind of thing, the Monty's not going to be winning that, and I see it all the time. I think in my 3 years of playing, I've only seen a Monty win one of those situations once.
I mean, a 1vx with Monty is just a tall order in general. 1v1's manageable. 1v2's not so much. 1v3's it's pushing it, and anything higher than that is basically you gotta be just so on top of your game. But and considering any sort of competitive element, you're not going to be winning that.
At that point, 1v4, 1v5, you can't rely on your own skill. You got to rely on the other team making mistakes, not pinching, not pushing together, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
If you want to win that. So it really falls down to both aspects. One is, your own control, but one is the other team's, and that's why it becomes so hard to win those situations.
Moving into round number 8. We're seeing a standard bathroom teller's hold. Doesn't look like anyone is really on site, though. A very extended play. We have Clipped on the pulse over by detention, spotting people as much as he can, and noticing that detention wall is going to be opened. However, not without any sort of opposition, I believe. And no, wall isn't going to be open. They only have coffee for hard breach, so they're going to ignore it entirely. Tyr's going to take a lot of damage upstairs, or just a little scrap, honestly, and just try to get out of there before they are too far gone to be able to fall back. A wise decision, considering they are so far out on a roam and have already gotten a minute and a kill on top of that. Bandrews falling to the 9x19 SMG with just 2 minutes left in a 4v5. Lindenwood still playing so very dominantly.
Now we see the Iona clone coming out.
Oh, no.
Oh, with a nitro kill, no. And there we go. There's the explosive kill quota we've been wanting to hit for this map. We've seen it all before. Now we see here. He heard the Ionic clone out. I potentially had a ping on them, and with Iona in that clone, she's a sitting duck, and once the nitro goes out, there's nothing she can do. Even if she gets off that clone, the explosion's still gonna kill her because she can't move away fast enough. So now that it's a 3v5, everyone pushing upstairs, do we think that Lindenwood will be able to pull this round out now that they're on defense, especially with the man advantage?
Oh.
Breach charge hurting Ash, taking out about
That's
50,
unfortunate.
55 health.
Cuba Bear is also stopping that vert play, making more utility be used. And honestly, I think this can very easily be a Lindenwood round. They have such a big man advantage, especially on defense. As long as they play these angles and play them well, then they have this round in the bag. It is only up to BGSU to push these angles, to be able to force them into bad situations, which they're not in the position to do so, nor do they have the time. Nomad's gonna drop and be taken out immediately by Nike. Rock being left worse for wear, and Tear being able to grab Coffee as well. Mike being knocked out, but Rain will close this out for Lindenwood's victory yet again.
And
Going
that
into
right
now match point. Oh boy.
That right there, it's been a complete flip, wasn't it? 6-2 to BGSU on our last map when we got the match point. So, if Lindenwood ends up winning this, everybody will be net even on map on their respective maps, and it'll go down to the wire with Villa being the decider. Honestly, I can't wait to see it.
Attackers need to locate and
I mean, yeah, both these teams have played their map picks so well, and you can obviously see why they picked these maps, because they were very prepared, and the other team on both sides, for both Lindenwood on Oregon and BGSU on Border, good lord, they seem very underprepared, as if they didn't expect to have to play this map at all, which, credit where credit's due, BGSU is still playing a well put together game. However, they're just not chalking up enough, where Lindenwood is basically running away with this now.
5 seconds left.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see just kind of the flip-flop, because usually we see most of the maps being even, most of them being either even, or one team ends up dominating the first two and we don't even get to a third. So it's just interesting to see how uneven these maps have been and how map choices really played into the results that these teams are getting.
Right. We're already seeing a very spread out attack, at least for the most part, by BGSU. Both top and bottom. We see Clipped on the cardiac sensor through the wall, just playing very passively. Notice that Bandrews is still there, and no one else is around him. However, Andrews doesn't have any idea that Clipped is sitting in customs. And Clipped is going to take himself out with a C4. Excuse me? Tier's going to be able to grab two and even this out a bit. But Clipped, what happened? What'd you do?
Well, we can say Tier got that refrag in a sense, but Mitch now using the MK14, the marksman rifle, getting another pick to bring it to a 2v4.
We're just sitting at a minute 40. Now turned into a 2v3 with Norak being able to take out Mike. Looking a little bit better for BGSU. But BGSU is not going to be able to win this map without taking it into overtime, which means they're going to have to play so perfectly for the next 4 rounds, including this one, 4 rounds straight. But put into a 2v2 with a minute 20 left, this is still doable. Both Norak and Bandrews are on relatively low health states, nothing too terrible at the moment. But both Tier and Phoenix are completely untouched. Tier still has a Kiba barrier in pocket, which might prove all the difference when it comes down to it. However, Norak still has all of his EMPs as well.
I think we've also got to look at the time here. It's 50 seconds, so as of right now, they've got to make a push They found the Azami. They know where she's they know around where she's going to be. We're going to see if they can get the pick. And they do. Now it's just the alibi that they have to fight off.
But her position's given away too. Venture's able to get that plant going down. Does she see the Claymore? She sees it. And 45 seconds to be able to now put into this 1v1, which Bandrews is going to pick up ever so nearly.
And that is how you win around in those situations right there, because we saw it was 2v4 brought all the way back.
This is just wild, honestly. Both of these teams are now stepping up their game. BGSU trying to step up their game even more, realizing how close of a game this is. But their competition is nothing to sneeze at. Lindenwood's playing this so very well to make something happen in map 2, which they have been. They've been doing a fine job of evening out this map. But BGSU is trying to hang in there as best they can, trying to close this game out before it gets too far away.
Seems like they're going for about the same setup that they were the first time they played the site. It'll be interesting to see if that works out. If that works out for them.
Now moving into round number 10, sitting still at match point. And BGSU still has 3 rounds to cover before able to take this into overtime to potentially close out this series on map 2. And Rain playing very aggressively with the MX4 Storm, a very powerful SMG, and able to get the sight of, I believe, Coffee. However, not able to pick up anyone. Still playing aggressively, but is spotted by the Twitch drones. Having to bounce between break room and this balcony window as much as possible. Knows he's going to want to get a kill here, but the pre-fire comes out, does not get him. He does not also get anyone else. Phoenix is still going to take out Coffee on the other side, though, giving BGSU a little bit of trouble and Lindenwood the man advantage. Rain's still playing very aggressively, but the walk-in from East will happen. And Shaggy is going to catch Rain, putting this into a 4v4, but does he know about the one in lobby? No, because Butters killed him already. And Tier is going to take out Shaggy as well, put into a 3v3. But Tier in a very unfortunate position, being cut down by Nrock.
BGSU seemed to be taking these fights pretty well. They first put 3 on Rain, and obviously Rain couldn't cope. 1v3, that's not going to work out. They did the same.
Mike having a little bit of drone troubles, as you know.
Did the same with Tier and 1v2. Not going to win that either. So it's just interesting to see that BGSU tend to push a little bit, I guess, more strategically. You know, key is staying by each other. And try and get those picks.
Oh, cooked slightly too long and not able to take out the flare. Clip just hanging around on this footholds. Able to get damage onto 2 of them, but not able to take out any of them. Butters is going to get that kill and is thrown into a 3v1 turn 3v none, with Bandrews being able to get that final kill onto Aruni. On a nice shot, no less.
Behind the bomb chassis right there, that's a pretty powerful spot. It's a spot I see played a lot. It's a spot that I will generally play a lot. But with the attackers, you know, going in and being able to take that, that can really ruin a setup if they're able to push in that far. So, and obviously it was a 3v1 at that point, but as we saw, very powerful spot, was able to pick off the last man standing without taking any damage themselves. So,
and BGSU is doing a great job at keeping themselves alive. They're doing just honestly fantastic. They've put themselves from a 2v6 to now turned 4v6, showing that they are much more comfortable on attack, than they are defense, especially for this map, and are now doing a bit better of a job at picking apart Lindenwood as we saw them do in the first map. They're having a lot more luck capitalizing on the poor positioning or just unfortunate positioning of Lindenwood, whether they're on alone, whether they're all alone on an island or whether they're with their teams trying to set up crosses. BGSU is peeking into these and winning and capitalizing. And honestly, I'm kind of here for it. I want this comeback.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
It's great when you can watch these games go on for as close as they can get. Even if they don't go into map 3, 2 close games.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Oh, Narak. Well, I guess we will see you next round as Rain says, go away. And he's gonna sell another one off as he takes out Shaggy, putting BGSU into a very unfavorable spot already. He's going to go for a third here, but no, Coffee is gonna shut him down.
Coffee says rain, go away, gets the pick, you know? But here we see off Phoenix taking out Bandrews, Butters getting the refrag on off Phoenix, though.
I guess Rain will have to get some more kills another day. Just sitting at 2 minutes left in a 2v3. Butters and Coffee doing an exceptional job at evening this out as much as they can. Both Rain and Phoenix, the two higher tier killers on the side of Lindenwood this game, are off the play. And now they just have to deal with 3 more. This floor nade's going to come out and possibly get the Aruni. No, it's going to do a lot of damage, though. Mitch being hurt quite a bit. Second floor nade coming out. Coffee taking a little bit of damage, but trading some onto tier. Still a little bit worse for wear, but spots a black eye cam to take out. All explosive nades have been used. And a little bit effectively, but nothing to net them a kill. However, they still have 3 stun grenades in the pocket of Coffee, and a C4 on the other side in the hands of Clipped.
As we see here, 2v3, about a minute to play, with Tier holding a pretty good peek on the hallway.
Interesting Kiba barrier as well going onto the wall to prevent any sprays from over on that balcony to try and take them off that half wall, or just any sort of pre-fire. Taking this main office take. Very bold move as they just have under a minute left. However, if they're going to be ignoring tier as much as they are, they have to be ready for the consequences. But Butters is going to shoot through the wall, catch Mike, and put this into a 2v2 with 30 seconds remaining. Butters ignoring the cam, but his hell device running out just unfortunately as he's under the camera. And now we're going to see him walking up on tier, but no, he's going to churn away! Oh, and Clipped is going to knock out Coffee, putting this into a 1v2. Butters all alone and is taken out by tier, and we are going to map 3.
7-4. I was honestly banking. I thought BGSU would give them a run for their money, and in all honesty, they started to. They just couldn't pull it off once they got to that 12th or that 11th round, where they ended up at a man disadvantage 2-3. That was the first time in those last 3 rounds, the 2 they won, and then that last round that I saw them at a man disadvantage. And unfortunately, with time running out, they had to make a play. That time will get you all the time, and that's why I stated in the first match, if you're a roamer, you're there to waste time. You're not there to get kills. Obviously, it's good if you do, but the number one thing you want to do is waste time, and they were successful in doing that, and I think that's really what helped Lindenwood win that last round they needed.
I mean, to be fair, Lindenwood did a fair share of both, getting the kills and the time wasting on that roam, especially with Rain on that last round. Just 2 very early picks, on spawn peaks no less, just completely shutting down BGSU before they even had a chance to really make something happen. And, I mean, to be fair, no one can, like, you can speculate all you want. If you had that 5v5 with Rain not peeking, that could have been a very different round. However, the result still stays the same, and we're going to be heading to map 3, which is going to be Villa, which will be our decider for tonight, as both these teams are playing so amazingly well on their map picks. But considering that no one really picked this map, and it just kind of went down to, whatever's left is whatever's left, then I can only say that I'm very curious to see how exactly this is going to go. But all that and more when we come back from, yet again, a small short break. We'll see you guys soon.
Seconds left. Have the glass.
What a keep goes out.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the. Oh, Sludge.
Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in. Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestrr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left. Have the glass.
What a keep goes out.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the. Oh, Sludge.
Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
the blitz is in. Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestr6league@gmail.com to get started.
Seconds left. Have the glass.
What
What
would
an
have keep
X-ray.
those out? It was one.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS.
Welcome back for the second, or third rather, I guess, and final time, as we're going to map 3, moving into Villa, with BGSU and Lindenwood, both at 1-1 for their maps 1, as this is best of 3, and in fact the first best of 3 on Midwest R6 history to be streamed. So I'm glad everyone is here to basically witness history tonight as we continue on with this best of 3 and see which one of these teams is going to prove themselves victorious. Do you have any thoughts about what this map may hold, Lucas?
Honestly, as I mentioned before, Villa is a very, very defender-sided map. At least in my opinion. Out of all the maps in the competitive map pool, I would say it's probably the most one-sided that it can really get. There's not a lot of places to put an attack in, and there's just so many places that defense can play. So I think, honestly, I could see this going either way, but I feel like BGSU is going to pull it out due to them having the defense advantage.
Well, I mean, historically, BGSU has been performing a lot better on attack, interesting enough. Same with Lindenwood, so I'm very curious to see what's going to be happening here, but we will be hopping right into this. Going straight away into our ban phase for the third and final time of the night.
Do you expect to see different bans than what we've already seen, or do you expect to see more of the same?
I mean, much of the same, but there's going to be a little variation. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a knock ban, because we saw quite a bit of banning, and I think we're going to see another Brava ban, because that was very specific for this last one. But first, we're going to see a Jackal ban, which is interesting. We haven't seen that all night, I believe.
Yeah, we haven't even really seen a Jackal play, so we've seen him we've seen him played, but we haven't seen him scan a ton of footprints. Let's see with this ban. I'm banking on an Osa ban, but
you will be surprised by a knock ban, taking out some very useful utility with the nades and that FMG9 and held device, which is very powerful to be able to sneak around relatively unseen, similar to how Vigil's gadget works. But moving for our defensive bans, we're going to see Valk. Not really too surprising, honestly. It makes sense, because that's a solid ban in really any map, especially Villa, as well as much as you can use that C4 and Nitros underneath to your advantage. And then the Azami ban, which is probably the most valid ban I've seen all night.
we've seen a lot of Azami plays, especially on border over there, so it makes sense that she'd be banned because those Kivas they're powerful tools, realistically. So
I mean, the ability to be able to change around sight as much as possible and as much as you please is such a powerful tool to be able to wield, especially if you're able to wield that tool effectively. We're going to be seeing round 1 going into Aviation Bar Gaming round. And one thing to note here, we already have 3 C4s on play. One in the hand of Shaggy, Bandrews, and Butters. And then we have Coffee and Rock hanging out on the Solus and Jaeger respectively. I'm very curious to see how exactly they're wanting to play this, because Coffee on that Solus, the Solus is very great for post-plant or even to plant denial. But we haven't seen too much of that by BGSU so far. Most of the time when they bring a Solus, they either win so overwhelmingly or Solus is knocked out right off the rip.
I find it interesting that BGSU opted not to play any electrification. They have the mute, but is he getting the walls or is he checking against the drones? And as we know now that you know, Mute's had that spherical radius for a long time now, so it'll be interesting to see if that does anything to their play. Already we see off Phoenix getting a pick on Butters, the Nomad with the ARX. It's a powerful gun if you can handle it with its low ammo capacity.
I mean, similar to guns, whether it be the F2 on Twitch or the Type 25 on Habana, they're very great guns, and with a fast fire rate and such, it's just the round count and recoil. However, the ARX is such a slower rate of fire, but so powerful and so damaging with just a 20 round mag, being able to take out as much as you can, but it still has relatively low recoil, so you're able to work with it pretty easily as long as you know what you're in for. And as we're seeing, Phoenix definitely knew what they're in for as they're taking out Butters very quickly, putting this into a 4v5 with just over now under 2 minutes. Rock taking a lot of damage over on 90 by the hands of Rain, and Tier getting hurt quite a bit from below by Coffee, but quickly refragged by Rain. Put this into a 3v4. Really anyone's game at this point. Put into a now 2v4 with Phoenix being able to take out Nrock and put this even more so in favor of Lindenwood. Very interesting how very attacker-sided both of these teams are. Getting this vertical control from underneath now by Rain, being able to try to lock down these last two remaining defenders. But where is Lindenwood? Where have they gone? They seem to almost, not to say stalling, but they're not getting their attack set up. Put into a now 2v3 with 45 seconds, and now the 90 push comes out when they had the majority of site basically able to walk onto and take for themselves. Lindenwood is very, very slowly, but very steadily stalling, as they're all bunched on 90 with 30 seconds to go. Clip taking a little bit of damage, trying to push Bandrews out. The C4 is no longer able to be used, but Clipped is going to take out Bandrews and put Shaggy into a 1v3. Plants going down, able to pick up one and get a little heal off the Kona stations by Thunderbird. Stun grenades going out, getting a little bit of blinding onto Shaggy. And now Shaggy has to figure out exactly where they are, but he's going to catch Mike and put into a 1v1. With low health, he still has one to go, but no! Phoenix is going to cut him down, taking Lindenwood's first round by just a hair.
Now these are the kinds of rounds I like to see. The ones where could go one way, it could go the other, and just keep flip-flopping back and forth. That round was a nail biter from start to finish, and honestly, I hope to see more like it in this game.
And I couldn't agree more. As that is still only round one, we have been having such a history of this match so far, with BGSU able to win without question on Oregon, and then Lindenwood answering just as dominantly over on Border. So it makes me really wonder which of these teams are going to prove victorious for Villa, as BGSU does have the advantage of being on defense first. However, Lindenwood is doing pretty well on their attacking rounds, so it might not matter.
As I've said before, we definitely cannot judge a game based on one round and one round alone. But getting that attack victory, that's already going to be beneficial. If you're not winning your rounds on defense on Villa, you better hope you have a very solid attack. Because if we end up seeing Lindenwood get a few more of these attack rounds, I think it's going to be game over for BGSU because of how defender-sided it is. However, that was a very close round, so it's very possible we could see it go the other way.
And I mean, even historically, both of these teams have shown that they are very proficient at their attacks. Phoenix getting very close on this Astro window, taking a lot of damage by Butters, and being taken out by Bandrews. That's a quick pick for BGSU, and I feel like a almost wasted death by Lindenwood.
Yeah, remember, Off Phoenix was the person that got the final kill in that 1v1 last round, so now that they're off the board, top frag as of right now, it'll be interesting to see how they cope with the rest of that round.
And Rain's able to spot Bandrews, putting this back into a 4v4. Pushed almost alone in Closet, however being now joined, I believe, by Much's Gemini clone, which will be taken out on that brick door, with Narok able to try to relocate over to red stairs, as this is an AV hold yet again. This is a very interesting hold because they're still doing a lot of map extension, which makes sense and is the usual for an AV hold to be able to extend over into the statuary area. But I'm just waiting for this late roam. You have the Claymore, but Coffee knows it's there. But the drone will still spot them, and they will be given away and have to get right out of there before they lose their life trying to get some sort of an advantage on them. Rain peeking down this classical hall, not able to catch the head of Narok playing at the end.
I like seeing the drone play by Lindenwood currently. It's good to see they're just throwing out drones for flank watch, and I assume they're having Bandrews on them. Yeah, Bandrews mostly on the cameras, just, you know, watching them from all angles. But right there, Tyr is going to get a pick on Shaggy with the AK-12. Butters ends up getting a refrag on Mitch. And we see it.
Oh, beautiful shot by Coffee to put this into a 2v2. Now 2v1. Coffee grabbing another. May not know that Clipped is still on that door, but he peeks it. They now know he's close, and he's playing with the shotgun prone, and he will take out Clipped, bringing BGSU right back into this.
That. Hate to say it, that was such a rat play right there. Going
It's a
prone.
smart play. That's the thing.
It was smart.
It may be ratty, but it is definitely the one that's gonna get you that win. Clip's on there just too late too.
Yeah, if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. But sometimes you gotta resort to those plays that are a little bit dirty just to, you know, figure everything out. And, I mean, this round, this time it seemed to work out for BGSU, but once again, it was a very close round. BGSU on defense continues to have close rounds, and so with them being, with Villa, like I said, being a very defender-sided map, and all these rounds being as close as they are, I'm not sure BGSU is going to be the one to win this match.
I mean, they've kept it pretty even. But considering how Lindenwood did on their attacking side for Border, I'm not sure. I feel like this can still be really anyone's game, because there's no way to really tell. Of course, it's still round 2, so there's still a lot of game to be played and still a lot to show whether or not these teams are going to be victorious. But I'm not counting out either of these teams so far. Both BGSU and Lindenwood are playing very well in playing their own game. They're making and setting the paces that they feel like they want to. Both Lindenwood and BGSU are doing such a great job on attack doing just that. And BGSU is now having to make their pace the one that they have to play for the entirety of this match. Gemini Clone and a standard drone are going to walk right in and get taken out by a foe 12. And an RCE Arteo drone is going to be ready to try and take out Bandrews, but a nade is going to do the job just fine. Rain taking him right out of there.
Man, these explosive kills we've been seeing, they've been a crucial part of most of these rounds. So it's just interesting to see how well each team uses their nades, uses their nitros, and gets these picks.
And we also see the third Arteo drone going out by Flores. Clip trying to disrupt and push the defenders any which way. Possibly going to send his fourth, unsure at the moment. However, still sitting at a minute 40 now. Butters being able to take out Rain as he maybe a little bit rashly hops right through the breach that they made for Closet to get into a little bit of bathroom control. However, Ace, the Ace on Tyr will be able to hop right in and take that in his place and shoot through the desk to take out Butters, putting this into a 3v4 with Lindenwood at the man advantage. Shaggy taking a lot of damage and knocked out as well by Tyr on a double right now, but quickly taken out on a second double by Coffee. Switches to the shotgun. He's ready to push, and he takes out Flores for the triple. Clipped being knocked right out of here on a 2v1 with Mike all alone. Nade being prepped, being thrown all the way over to Astro, trying to take out Coffee. But Coffee's going to get right out of there and relocate around. Narok able to hold this brick door as much as possible with the SMG. However, Mike might be able to still catch one of them. And he'll catch Narok, but Coffee with his fourth will take the round for BGSU.
Now that was a round of one man and one gun. What a showing that was. I thought it was very much going to go Lindenwood's way, and then we just see boom, 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 4 kills. And instantly, Lindenwood are on the back foot, you know, ending up losing that round. It was nice to see, even concussed with the Elamine, that Ayana was still able to get a kill. I know a lot of people have trouble with that. So it was nice to see that they were still able to take them out even while concussed, but unfortunately they couldn't get both of them, and the round went to BGSU because of Coffee's one-man army.
I mean, they did such a great job holding that. They're able to grab just a quick double with the SMG-11. As you know, you got 17 bullets per mag, and you often use all of them, taking out one. So he had to take out one, then reload, and to be able to grab more, and then hold that angle with the shotgun, as Clipped on the floor has pushed him, and was unsuccessful, and knocked right out of there, which gave him all the time to get out of dodge, and make sure he was a little bit better off to be able to assist Rock when they needed it most. Which ultimately ended up in BGSU's victory, but I feel like that's Coffee's victory, honestly. That was such a great play by him. And I can only imagine we're going to be seeing more, as he's sitting 8-1, and it's round 4.
Yeah, man, I mean, we'll see if Lindenwood can get more than just that one attack. If they can, that's going to be really beneficial for them. And, I mean, we've only seen half of the BGSU's defense rounds right now, and 2-1 isn't necessarily bad.
I mean, it's definitely looking better for BGSU this time around, because they're having much better luck on defense on this map than they did really on either of the maps that we've seen before. Butters is going to be able to knock out Mike, but quickly refragged onto Coffee by the hands of Rain, which will put them still in a 4v4, just under 2 minutes. Butters being knocked out by Phoenix, but into a 3v4 now with full top control coming out by Lindenwood, able to get this vert going off, as this is Kitchen. And we still do have 2 Nitro Cells in pocket, both on Banjus and Shaggy. The Pulse Cardiac Sensor is going to be so crucial to be able to spot these attackers and get the C4s going off. He sees one, and he might be able to get this ping to alert Shaggy and get that C4 off. But he's not going to see him quite yet. Buddy, look up. Keep your head up, King. He's going to get that Nitro prepped, and oh, just barely missing the fact that he could have possibly got one. But now he's just waiting off his cardiac sensor to be able to grab one soon. The C4 is going to go out and do a little bit of damage onto Rain. Not quite enough to kill. However, enough to get a solid amount of worry and damage. Just a minute left. Vulcan canister going out. And that'll burn for a solid 20 seconds, as Banjus now has to sit up on the cabinet to not take any damage. And just sitting here still at a 3v4, moving to 45 seconds. Tier trying to get this laundry wall opened up. Rain being able to take out Narok, putting this into a 2v4, turn 1v4. Shaggy all alone, 30 seconds remaining. Still has the Vector in hand, but Plant is going to be going down on the side by Laundry, and possibly Tetris. And Plant will be non-successful as Shaggy cuts him down. Just 20 seconds remaining, having to play this so amazingly well, grabbing one and cut down by Clipped, as Lindenwood is able to keep themselves alive.
That pinch is, I think, is what saved Lindenwood right there. 1v4, that Goyo just started going off, getting 2 kills, but the fact that they ran that pinch, I think, really helped them there. The Buck with the vertical play, something that's evident with Villa is that a lot of those sites, they have destructible floors, they have destructible ceilings. So a lot of that vertical play is something that you can definitely use to your advantage on certain sites. And as we saw right there, Lindenwood very much used it to their advantage.
Credit where credit's due, Shaggy did such a phenomenal job. He was pressured on all ends, all angles, and he was able to stop Plant with less than a second remaining on him, no less. At least I for one thought that Plant was done and all set for the side of Lindenwood to be having the biggest advantage of a 4v1 with Plant down. However, Shaggy cut him down where he stood, or sat rather, and forced him even on the ground a little bit more. And then turned around to grab the Nomad who was giving him pressure on the other end. Just amazing work, honestly. While it still ended in his loss, you gotta give the credit where it's due. He played that as well as he possibly could have, and was put in a bad situation which ended with his death. However, the worst situation is gonna be Mike, as he's cut down by Butters in 30 seconds into the round. Rain's gonna follow shortly as Coffee cuts him down as well. Put this into a 5v3 with BGSU having such a glaring man advantage to start this round.
Now, with that SMG-11, we've seen that been used before, and it's been a very, very powerful tool of destruction. We see that extended barrel on it, which raises its damage, and just makes it a very, very menacing tool. He's been getting the headshots off with it as well, which, you know, with something with that high of a fire rate and a decent amount of recoil, it's pretty hard to do. So I think that SMG-11 has very much helped a lot of those rounds. Not even just in this match.
It definitely is a gun up there that is one of the, not to say the hardest to use, but definitely up there in terms of relative skill needed to make that SMG-11 work in your favor. However, they're doing such a great job at showing how to use it. As Tier is going to be pushing this 90, but cut down by Butters. And even if he didn't get that kill, as he grabs another, Narok would have been there with the shotgun. And Clip's going to grab one, but not another, as Shaggy peeks him out with the SMG-11, as we so stated, and take another BGSU round. Beautiful shot, by the way.
Like I said before, that SMG-11 is a tool of destruction, and we continue to see that more and more as the game progresses. BGSU have managed to pick up 3 defense rounds. They have 1 more defense round left to hopefully get it to 4-2. They can get it to 4-2. I think they stand a pretty solid chance of making it through. However, as I said, it's a very defensive-sided map, so only time will tell. What I can say, though, is that every round has seemed to be very, very close up until that last one, where it was a lot of domination by BGSU. Do you think that maybe cut Lindenwood's morale, and how do you think they intend to cope with that?
I will be completely real with you, Lucas. I have not the foggiest idea of what Lindenwood is thinking right now. Because coming out of a now put into a 3-2 lead for BGSU is definitely a little bit demoralizing for Lindenwood, but they're still coming off of a map victory for map 2. And honestly, putting this into map 3 at the situation we're seeing, I am excited. How are you excited about this, Lucas?
I'm a little less excited because I feel like Lindenwood's gonna pull this off, and then my prediction's gonna be wrong, but still a very riveting game, still something that I'm very much intrigued to see what happens. Like I said, most of these rounds have been very, very close. I intend to see a very close game. I want to see this brought into overtime and one team winning 8-7, just bringing it all home.
I mean, there would be no better way to end this, especially how close this is being, especially how well these teams are playing. They are doing just a phenomenal job at getting the pressure going on both ends. And we're even seeing that now with Mike being able to pressure that mirror that has absolutely no one on it. But Rain is still able to take out Narok, putting this into a 4v5. Nade going out onto that mirror, almost catching Vandrews, I believe. Or, no, Butters, I mean. But Butters is still going to catch Rain. Straggy also grabs Tier, putting this into a 4v3.
They both got taken out pretty rapid fire. It's nice to see those picks go out. Just two completely different situations, two completely different times. Off Phoenix getting the shot on Shaggy where he wasn't paying attention to the window. Now, how could that affect the outcome of this round now that they brought it back to an even man advantage?
I mean, look, we gotta get excited about this. This is looking really good for both sides here. Even now, so with BGSU on this offense, a little less so now for BGSU, as Bandrews is hitting the dirt. As Mike cuts him right out, almost grabbing Butters as well. But no, Butters is gonna hit him with the headshot. With just a minute left, 2v2, now turning into a 1v2 as Butters goes down. Maybe at the expense of the round. But now they do figure it out. But Coffee is still alive on a 1v2. Playing very slow, going all the way around Brick. Able to find both of them with one man!
And he
Oh my god!
1 versus 2, that SMG-11, we have seen it used so much. We saw it with that 4K. And here, he pulls off the kill. 1 meg, getting both of the players. 1, not even a headshot, actually unloaded enough bullets in to kill him. And pulls that 1v2 off for BGSU. They managed to pull off 4 defense rounds. And
What
that
a clutch.
that
Oh my God.
very much could determine BGSU whether they win or they lose. That very much could have been the deciding round right there.
I mean, what else could it be at this point? BGSU playing that so amazingly. Coffee, even more so, playing that just incredibly. Being able to play so stealthily around the breach, being able to alt walk and crouch walk as well in through that breach and catch them both unaware. Both of them thought he was still master side, and he was able to grab that quick headshot on the Nomad with his first couple bullets and amazing spray control to be able to bring that right back down. That is something for the highlight reel, surely.
I mean, I would be surprised if I don't see that in the next Midwest R6.
You gotta.
Yeah. Dude, I would be surprised if that's not in the next, you know.
I'm gonna call up JD right after this game and be like, hey, do I got the clip for you? The clip for the century of BGSU versus Lindenwood. You're gonna want to see this. But moving right into round number 7. It's still looking pretty good for both sides. BGSU has the advantage here, as they're going into their attacking rounds a little bit better than we may have assumed. However, Lindenwood is playing very aggressive. Mike caught on the roam, and he might be burnt for this, because the entirety of BGSU is right here, but no, he's going to grab Shaggy before he gets out. And that's an amazing roam right there. He's able to grab and waste a little bit of time, just under a minute, and still get the kill onto Shaggy, taking that Ash out, taking those breaching rounds out of play. And even a couple drones that might have been able to be put on for flank watch or even just in general utility. That's a big kill to be able to get so early on, and now BGSU is a man down, having to deal with the rest of site. Sees the clutch drone, Rain's able to take it out before it can do any sort of damage. And the EMP on Bulletproof Camera on 90 is also gonna pull a little bit of weight for them. The run out by Rain, a little unsure of what he's doing, and Bandrews is gonna punish him for his rash decisions.
I'm honestly surprised that none of those bullets landed. It looked like I
mean, Bandrews is definitely a bit worse for wear. However, not enough to take him out of the fray. As his second drone is then taken out. I believe both clutch drones are destroyed.
Now
or
playing
at least
that
on the play.
Yeah, now playing that 90 window It's good to see that BGSU has a few people in 90, because if you're going to get on that window, you are going to want to have backup, especially since that it leaves you in a very vulnerable position no matter where you are. We see
Might able to
mid.
catch Butter. Ooh, that's good. Coffee able to get the refrag for Tier. And Clip's able to grab Coffee as well. It's going back and forth. But Narak is the only one left in a 1v3. Will he be able to clutch this for BGSU, or are we going to be seeing a little bit more of an even game still? It's not looking too great. Sitting at 20 seconds with Maestro just hanging around this corner, getting the concussion out. But no, Phoenix is going to cut him down from behind bar, telling Narak that he's going to have to do better than that if they're going to be able to win this match.
All right, we see it now go to a 4-3. Lindenwood pulling off their first defense round, and honestly, I could see Lindenwood continuing to pull off a few more of those. With BGSU's defense rounds, every round, barring one, was extremely close, whereas Lindenwood, this one, they still had 3 guys when they killed the last one. So that very much could play into effect here, seeing that Lindenwood had a much better man advantage in that round than BGSU did in most of their defense rounds. I feel like that could be the deciding factor for this entire match.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. As going into round 8, we're going over to Statuary AV. Or no, not AV, excuse me, Statuary Trophy. With Lindenwood on defense, this is their second defending round. And they're already evening the split just a bit. The Castle being able to provide his armor panels to be able to secure the majority of Master side just a little bit more. Even securing Breach that they're leaving open, which is very interesting. That Statuary wall that is also open to have that aggressive play style very deep into Master Bedroom, which I feel like could turn into a heavy double-edged sword if BGSU is able to seize control of that effectively. Definitely will remain to be seen. As just under 30 seconds, a little bit, Bandrew is able to get this RCE Arteo drone going out, spotting the Wamai, and able to take out the shield. The note here is going to be hanging out in or around this bathroom side. So we're going to have to be wary and drone him out effectively. Rain playing on this. Oh, Narak, what are you doing? You left it right open for him. Rain able to capitalize on the legs of Narak through the footholes, just playing on brick side and playing through that breach, as I stated, that aggressive hold that you can do so well. And BGSU is now having to fight uphill, but it's steadying out just quite a bit, and even into a downhill as both Shaggy and Butters grab kills on respective players over on AV side. Able to really open this up for BGSU with still just half the round remaining. The majority of Lindenwood now having to rotate over to intercept this AV90 push, which has posed such a big threat. Proximity alarms going off by Shaggy, and Rain able to knock down Butters, and just sprinting around the corner ever so brave. However, Coffee's going to take out Tier in the meantime, putting this into a quick 3v2.
I think it's interesting to note right here, the kills on Lindenwood are much more balanced, much more even than they are in BGSU. We see Coffee taking a bit of damage, but able to get the headshot on Clipped, and Bandrews with the marksman rifle gets the last kill and brings the round in for BGSU.
It's a great kill to have. The second defending round for Lindenwood is immediately taken by BGSU, putting even more of a type of pressure on Lindenwood that they probably hoped that they didn't have to face this time around. I can only imagine that they're looking at a steady uphill battle that they're now having to climb back on, especially with how good BGSU has been playing on attack in both of these maps. They've played very well on attack, and so has Lindenwood. But the thing is, these teams so far, outside of Villa alone, haven't played overly stellar on defense. BGSU, on literally the first half of this map being the only exception, and that might be going to show here. Because Lindenwood is already down quite a bit, sitting at a 5-3 split, which is not preferable, of course, for Lindenwood and Lindenwood fans. However, BGSU is probably feeling really good about this. They still have the Flores to be able to bring these Arteo drones in and clear a lot of utility. The mute being brought out by Rain to quite literally stop just that, as that shield and bathroom going down was such a heavy loss for Tier and ended up in his death. They're bringing the mute to help combat that.
Seems now they're pushing bedroom as they have pretty much every other round. It'll be interesting to see if Lindenwood will cope with this again, like they did the first round, or if BGSU can pull off another attack win like they did the second round.
I mean,
Especially when they keep attacking around the same spot.
we can only speculate until it happens. Over BGSU is playing very well. Over Rain is going to cut Bandrews down, taking the Flores immediately out of the gate and those RCE Arteo drones, all 4 of them no less. None of those drones have been used so far, and none will be used for the rest of this round. That's a big kill in just a minute now into this round. ADS stopping the concussion rounds by Zofia, but able to get that impact round off. And Rain playing very, very aggressively, playing on the mute, the C4 in hand, the rip ready. Playing very patiently to get that throw out there, but it won't get anyone. And he's gonna go for the jump out, but he's immediately punished by Narak, showing that despite anything that's going on, you can't get away with that.
I would like to mention, sorry to Narak and BGSU fans, but that was Narak's first kill this entire map, so...
I mean, what a great one to start out.
Congratulations to Narak on that, but, and I hope to see more like it, but...
I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't always come down to kills, because Narak is performing well in his own right, being able to help his team. There's a reason why they're winning 5-3 right now, and it doesn't have to do with kills all the time. It can do with jobs. It can do with utility. How you use that utility and how you perform your jobs is really important as well.
We see Tier and Coffee trading each other off, both with headshots, bringing it to a 3v3. And there's another kill with the 416 carbine. It's got that gun has a decent bit of recoil, but it nonetheless still a very good gun to use. You can control it. We see Butters here.
That kill. Ooh.
Yeah, G36C headshot. This is good. This round is going to go down to the wire. 15 seconds left. They got to make a play. See what happens.
Mite's able to take out Narak and put into a 1v2 as Clip takes out Butters to take Lindenwood's, second defending round. This is getting really close. I feel like this is going to go to overtime.
I would love to see it go to overtime, honestly, at this point. I like I said, I want to see it be an 8-7 to some team. I'm going to say BGSU only because I predicted them, but realistically, if Lindenwood brings it, the exact same, I'm not going to be any more disappointed. Both these teams have played very well. Both these teams deserve to win. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see one team rejoicing, able to get a win. You know, moving up in the table, and the other team, it's gonna be absolute heartbreak, and we don't know which is going to be which. And I can't wait to see how that plays out.
I mean, I definitely couldn't agree more. This has been a great game to watch and to cast, no less. Because as a caster, you don't root for any one team. You just want the best game possible. And BGSU and Lindenwood are definitely delivering on that fact, bringing this into such an entertaining map 3 after almost landslides back and forth for the first 2 maps. But going into map 3, this has been such a great game. This is being very well fought, and just well played overall. Now we're going to AV side, with BGSU still pushing this master, and Mike all alone. If they're able to capitalize on the fact that he is still setting up the majority of his things here, they might be able to take him out right away. But no, he's going to hop right out of there as soon as he realizes he might be a little outmanned and outgunned. But he might walk into the guns of Butters, who's lying in wait at the bottom of Andrew and for that basement stair. And now the map over for BGSU begins, as there is no roam over on master side or even below to stop them.
Now we see a little bit of an aggressive peek. Prox alarm going off, compromising position. We'll see how this plays out. Right now we see Tier putting up a few more magnets. Have we seen many of those gadgets caught by magnets? I don't think we have.
Not too many, because they've done such a good job at clearing the Wamai and the magnet devices as well as they have. Rain being all alone on this 90 side, droned out and dropping through the hatch, maybe accidentally, but maybe on purpose. We'll just go that it was a calculated move. Let's stick with that. That's the story. And BGSU still being able to take advantage of the now lack of 90 control. But they might not know immediately that's what's going on. Getting drones out there to confirm the fact that Alibi has indeed fallen off, or more so, fallen through a hatch. But with just a minute now, Butter's able to take out Phoenix into a 5v3, looking a little bit better for BGSU. Possibly putting this into a match point situation going into next round, but Bandrew's cut down by Rain over on red stairs, droned out as well, so he will be locked down by 2 guns that he's going to have to wait out, because as a defender, it's his job to wait, not to push. So he can wait all he wants on red stairs and then go for a late flank if he feels. Tier just hanging around in sight, and Vault being taken out by Nurak, but quickly traded by Clipped, and Rain grabbing another, put into a 2v2, now turned 2v1 with Shaggy, taking out Clipped, Rain all alone, put into a 1v1 triple kill, with just now 15 seconds remaining, having to rotate back up red yet again. Shaggy still has Diffuse in hand, and he's going to have to go for this plant, but Rain is all too aware, knows where he's going, and knows where the plant's gonna be. He's gonna pull off plant, it's just a second left, and that's a Lindenwood victory.
I knew he would go for the melee kill, because that's always, they always go for the dirtiest kill when the plant has to go down. It's a 1v1 like that. They always go for that. I always go for it the exact same way too. That was such a close round. Man, it's unfortunate that didn't turn out for BGSU, but both teams played that very, very well, and obviously only one of them can win, so I hope to see more of that with the last few rounds of these.
I couldn't agree more. Honestly, this game is looking very great with how things are going so far. BGSU is playing very well, and Lindenwood is as well, keeping this very evened out and most likely going to be going into overtime. However, there's still a chance that one of these teams pulls out these 2 final rounds and secures the victory for themselves, Mike having to shoot a little bit of a sharpshoot for that drone there, able to grab him just before he gets away. But sitting at round 11, going to a kitchen hold, which I believe is the first time we've seen kitchen for Lindenwood.
We hear the sound of pre-placed nitro. Not sure exactly where that is, but
I can only imagine on the roof, like on the ceiling, just at a common spot, because we see a total of 3 C4 on this roster here. 1 with Mike on the Kaid, Clipped on the Pulse, of course, and then Rain on the Capkin.
3 nitros and 2 deployable shields. That's some pretty good utility right there.
And considering the fact that Pulse is such a heavy utility on kitchen itself because of how heavy vertical play can be enforced, I can only imagine that's going to work well for them. However, BGSU is ignoring the majority of that. They're going a very first floor hold take. Whereas Capkin on Rain, or no, Yeah, it is, Captain. All the way off. I can only imagine this is why they had the pre-play C4. And Tyr being knocked out quite immediately by Shaggy. And that is a very unfortunate op to go down so quickly. As you know, with Tyr, or more so the smoke, you have 3 toxic canisters in pocket, which all go for 10 seconds each. Those can be a very great asset in late round utility. Butters being knocked out by Rain on the roam. They know Capkin is on the prowl, trying to catch any of these attackers off guard, and oh, the push being narrowly taken out. However, Nurak will be able to cut him down in his tracks without too much damage.
Now that play with the gridlock there, I mean, that was pretty good. It was a good play by Rain to peek in there and just you know, seeing an enemy was there. But when you have your crosser aimed at hip level and they have theirs aimed right at your head, it's never gonna end well for you.
We're sitting at just a minute. Now 4v3. BGSU is looking pretty good. We're taking a little bit of damage from onto Coffee by the hands of Mike. However, Lindenwood is holding angles pretty rapidly. The C4 will go out and take out Coffee, but the Candelas will prove useful as Bandrews is able to take out Mike in response. That C4 is going to provide no use, as Ying with the LMG is going to spray over the shield but be cut down by Clipped into a 2v2. Diffuser has gone down, and now that forces the entirety of Lindenwood into a 2v1. But with 35 seconds to be able to pick up one more kill now, with the 7-second differential to be able to get that diffuse off. But the tracks and the G36C by Shaggy is going to cut down Lindenwood in their tracks and secure yet another victory, putting this into match point.
Oh man, we both knew this was probably going to be a close game, and we see it right here. Like I said, Villa, as I've said many times before, Villa defense sided. I see Lindenwood pulling out this 6th win and bringing this right into overtime. I could very much see that right here.
Or definitely have to see, because considering what we've seen so far, it is definitely, this is going to be a big round. Of course, of course it's going to be a big round. Either BGSU wins or this goes to overtime. However, considering how well these teams have been playing, you know that the intensity and just the stress is very high on both of these teams. They have to be feeling a bit pent up about this last round, as BGSU has done a hell of a job bringing this comeback all the way back, whereas Lindenwood has been keeping up with them every step of the way. And I can only imagine that BGSU is wanting to take this last round as dominantly as possible without having to stress or worry about a close call, a 1v2, a 2v2, or any sort of clutch situation, whereas Lindenwood is going to try anything tooth and nail to be able to keep themselves in this match. I know that they want to win this, because sitting at a last place spot, being 0-6 as your record, you want to have this round.
Like I said, if this is run to overtime, it's going to feel like one team's going to be ecstatic and the other one, it's just going to be so much heartbreak.
Oh, and a big C4 onto Nurak, putting this into a quick 4v5. Rain able to get that arc all the way out through the master bed window. Artseo Drone's able to get a little bit of movement in there. Take out that shield, and Rain playing this bathroom into closet side very aggressively, almost catching the head of Bandrews, but being spotted and having now to fall back just a little bit. Just kind of hanging out. The main aggressive rotate into Master being reinforced off by Tyr, and Rain grabbing another, putting this into a 3v5, looking significantly better for Lindenwood as time goes by. BGSU put in a big disadvantage, especially now with relative split going on by their attackers, and they still have roamers that can rotate back to deal with sight, assuming anyone on site goes down. Proximity alarm alerting the defenders to Shaggy's location, and Butters getting a little bit of info on those Gemini clone.
I mean, It's very interesting to see how the split pushes seem to work pretty well for them in most cases. We'll see, but right here it looks like they're being picked off one by one. We'll see if they can pull it back or if it's just going to be kind of a complete steamroll. Because as we see, 2 people are dead on BGSU, 2 people are round just over half health, and nobody on Lindenwood has even been touched.
It's definitely looking like a big uphill battle for BGSU, but it's not to say that they can't make it work. You're getting the pressure on all sides here. Bandrew's cut down by Clipped, and now Shaggy having to push onto Stat relatively alone. Butter's being damaged quite a bit by Clipped all the way through from Trophy into Astro. However, Shaggy is able to grab one, grabs a second, put it into a quick 2v3 with 25 seconds. 1v3 as Mike is able to take out Shaggy, leaving Butters all alone, trying to get what he can, but no, we're going to overtime.
Now this was very much deserved by both teams. This overtime, I couldn't see it going any other way. I knew both teams have played this so well in each. Both teams have played this super well. Every round has been an adventure, and we've got a maximum of 3 rounds left to settle the score, see who's going to be victorious here. And honestly, I cannot wait for the fun. I cannot wait for the finish of this.
But moving into our overtime rounds, BGSU is going to be on attack, which I really can't tell whose that advantage it's going to be for. BGSU plays so well on attack, but Lindenwood has been keeping up on defense very, very effectively. However, BGSU has had to win, I believe, only a couple, as Lindenwood has been playing a lot better on defense than BGSU has been on attack, excuse me. So, I'm not exactly sure where the advantage lies here, as we're going back to Trophy Statuary, which both BGSU and both Lindenwood have won on this exact same setup, so it can really go either way.
Now, as we've seen, both teams got 4 rounds on defense and 2 rounds on attack, so I think it's slight advantage to Lindenwood here. But once again, I could see this going either way. I can't wait for the finale.
We'll be seeing that very soon, whether in 2 rounds or even 3 at most.
We see a few of the attackers taking the roof. Potentially trying to rappel down, find a window, or maybe a balcony. They're pushing into Aviator Games, despite the bombs being over in Trophy Statuary. Now, I find it a little interesting they decided to go Trophy Statuary instead of Aviator Games. What do you take from that?
I mean, they won it pretty well, and I think they're just feeling comfortable on it. And I mean, Phoenix is showing just that as he takes out Bandrews on that roam and is able to get back to site very 100% unscathed, which is just amazing for Lindenwood. They are looking really good at this moment. They're sitting at the man advantage, they're sitting good on time, and on wasting time as well, especially being able to take out Bandrews of all people on the Ying, which is going to be great, taking out 4 full Candelas, smokes possibly, secondary hard breach possibly if that's what they chose instead. And that is just a lot of utility to take off the floor. There's so much to gain from that, simply just by taking out Ying.
Yeah, as we saw from some of those previous rounds, mainly especially
oh my god!
Oh, that was dirty right there. Oh my gosh.
Mike's able to take out Coffee though, evening this out quite a bit. And now BGSU having to try to chase. Oh boy, Nrock looking pretty worse for wear, but they're still able to take out Phoenix, put into a 3v3, turned 3v2 as Shaggy takes out Mike. Rain getting the refrag onto Butters, putting this into a 2v2. Nrock still very low on health, but Shaggy unscathed, but both of Lindenwood being pretty well off in general. Both Rain and Tyr having a heavy hold on both sites. But
Now, as
BGSU
a-
is getting statuary control pretty
Yeah.
easily going on. Plant being planted now, but pulled off just before. Getting some damage onto Tier, and Shaggy's gonna take out Rain. This is put into a 2v1 with Lindenwood being pretty bad off now, but put into essentially a 1v1 with Tier knocking down Rock. And it's only up to him to be able to take out Shaggy, but no! BGSU is still in this.
Now that was a round that I feel like Lindenwood maybe not should have, but definitely could have won, and losing that defense round in overtime, that could very much seal their fate. Now we see BGSU on defense. We'll see if they can defend it well, or if Lindenwood pulls himself back into it. It's not looking good for Lindenwood, but I'm still fully confident that they can bring it back.
I mean, to be fair, any sort of match point doesn't look good for the other team. However, considering what we've seen throughout this entire series, there is such a big chance that Lindenwood holds on to this, but equally as big of a chance that BGSU runs away with it. We're still going to be seeing the statuary and trophy hold, a very big extension over for Astro as per normal, and just a, I believe, very static type of setup in general for BGSU. And I can only imagine that BGSU fans are hoping that they can hold on to this lead and take this series. They've been looking pretty good on their defenses so far. They were able to win their defensive half with a 4-2 split, and that's great. But Lindenwood did the same exact thing. And is this going to be one of the chances that Lindenwood is able to take this attacking round? I mean, we can only speculate, but we have no idea which way this is going to go, because both of these teams are playing so effectively against the other team and doing such a great job at picking apart the defenses.
Now, as we've seen, the explosives have always been, at the forefront. The attackers bringing 4 frags, where the defenders have 4 nitros. Do you think the explosives could play a role in this round?
I can only imagine, but considering I feel like the C4 is just the result of the ops that they need for this. Mira, the Thunderbird, and Kaid being very big examples of that. They just have the C4s naturally. I think the only person that would have the C4s that didn't necessarily need them would be Butters, and that's probably just personal preference. However, Banjus is going to be falling, which will take out one of those C4s very early on. Phoenix able to get that kill, and Coffee able to get a refrag onto Rain, taking some of those nades off the board as well. Shutting down Rain completely on this round before they're able to reign their terror any further. Sitting at 4v4, just under 2 minutes now. BGSU taking the lead of man advantage as Coffee is able to take out Mych. Put into a 4v3, possibly a 4v2 if Coffee can get this other kill.
Lindenwood's 2 top fraggers taken off the board, obviously off Phoenix with the same amount of kills.
Oh my god! Kills coming left and right. Butters and Coffee able to take out 2 more, and Coffee able to come around. BGSU coming out 2-1 in maps,
And
able to win this series.
That is game, set, and match. After Lindenwood lost the defense round, that sealed their fate, and we saw that all too well here. Absolute scenes for BGSU and absolute heartbreak for Lindenwood. It was a tough match. It was a close match. Both teams deserved to win it, but in the end, BGSU barely managed to pull it out.
I mean, they did such an amazing job before that. Like, honestly, both of these teams were so great to have such an even split, honestly. You had the first half, or I mean, let's even go back to map 1. You had Oregon. That was such a BGSU favored map. They absolutely ran the floor. Ending that 7-1, that is insanely big. And then going into map 2, Border. It was the exact opposite. BGSU fell away so hard to the hands of Lindenwood. And Lindenwood was able just, again, to run the floor. They were able to just clean up everything that BGSU tried. And then moving into map 3, there was no clear winner throughout all of that. BGSU played so amazingly well in that first half, ending at 4-2. on their defensive half, and then Lindenwood struck right back. They ended their half 4-2, putting it into overtime with BGSU able to win their attack and then move it onto BGSU's defense, where they so dominantly and aggressively cut down the entirety of Lindenwood.
It was such a good match to watch, such a good match to cast. And as I've said before, both teams deserve to win that. And it came down to the wire. BGSU pulling out that last match 8-6, whereas the other two had, I mean, pretty distinctive, a pretty clear winner in both of those. As we saw with on that last map with Villa, we saw one or two rounds that proved to be decisive. Right there, the clip that we need to lobby JD to put in the video, with the two kills at the SMG-11.
Just a beautiful play by Coffee.
Yeah, right there. That, I mean, had that gone the other way, Lindenwood would have won that.
It was a great game, all things considered, but there can only be one winner, and our winner for today is BGSU. And we will be coming right back after a short break. We have an interview for you guys coming from BGSU. We have one of our players, I'm not sure who quite yet. However, we will learn all of that sooner or later. We'll see you right after this short break, everyone.
10 seconds left. Have the glass.
What a cube goes down.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the... Oh, Sludge.
Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in. Oh, but
Midwest R6 is looking for league sponsorships. Want to be a part of many college students' next journey? Midwest R6 focuses to give college students and beyond an opportunity to get real-world experience in their desired career field or a hobby they enjoy. Midwest R6 aims to work with businesses that believe what people do matters. Want to be a part of the journey? Send us an email at midwestrr6league@gmail.com to get started.
seconds left. Have the glass.
What a cube goes down.
Looking to increase your aim? Kovacs is one of the best aim trainers and a proud partner of Midwest R6. Upgrade your FPS skills with over 21,000 scenarios, map editors, and much more. Kovacs. Want to build your resume? Midwest is looking for volunteers in many different categories that fit your desire. Want to do digital marketing? We got you. Interested in statistics, moderation, production, or social media? This is the place for you. Build your career and resume with Midwest R6. All members will shadow their design position and be given a shot at the big leagues. Do you think you have what it takes? Send us your resume to midwestrr6league@gmail.com or fill out your interest form located in the Midwest R6 Discord server.
He's halfway up now. Halfway up. Like.
Robo getting taken down. Yana just walking in the. Oh, Sludge.
Oh, come on!
But not realizing there's a second player there. It's a 1v1.
The blitz is in.
Oh, but
Welcome back, everyone, to Midwest R6. We are joined by Butters, by the team of BGSU tonight. We had an amazing game, going all 3 maps. What are you thinking here, Butters?
Map 1, I will say we were a little cocky. It was our map pick. We were kind of comfortable on it. We're kind of doing our thing. We got to map 2. That's when we realized they actually knew what they were doing, and they had set strats out. And we kind of struggled with that, but I think it was 6-3, 6-4 is when we started to get it together. Started playing like a team. They ended up closing that map out, but it was mostly just trying to play as a team that we were struggling with.
I mean, it definitely showed. The first map, you guys were very obviously feeling really good about what you were doing. And even showed in map 2, as you said, you started playing as a team. We could definitely tell when you guys started actively picking apart their defenses one by one, being able to run your attacks how you expected them to be had. Even though they won even though Lindenwood won map 2, you guys were still able to play as a team and keep yourselves calm and collected enough to move into map 3. And honestly, just an amazing map 3. One of the best that I've seen in a hot minute, honestly. But
sure.
even so, what did you guys feel moving into map 3, seeing as even of a game that it was, and being able to have that lead and have it slowly ripped back from you guys moving into overtime?
Map 3, we were just kind of trying to stay calm, collected, play as a team, work as a team, stuff like that. We didn't really have to because, Coffee was just winning when he shouldn't, and that made the game very easy, if I do say so.
I mean, fair enough. We got to give credit. That SMG-11 clutch, being able to tap the head of the first couple bullets and the spray control to whip it down onto the Thatcher and cut him down with the same mag, no less. Absolutely beautiful. There's no way around saying that.
During the entire match, we noticed a lot of explosive being brought out, frag grenades, nitro cells, all that kind of stuff, and getting a lot of kills with them. How did your team determine, I guess, where to throw the nitros to get the kills, or throw the frags, blow people up from underneath the floor? Was that all information that you had collected from droning, or like how did you figure that out to get those picks?
I would say it was about 50-50. It was some droning and then a little bit of just kind of like having the game sense, know where people usually are below. We noticed that they started running to Wamai, and it's just a bunch of shields, a lot with alibis. So we just kind of switched on the floor, as a bunch of grenades, a bunch of utility to clear stuff out. Really helped us out.
And I mean, it definitely showed as you guys were able to use that information and use those explosives to be able to take such an advantage of each round that you're able to make it work and really just pull it in your favor, especially in rounds where you were sitting at such a significant man disadvantage, and being able to get those early picks, whether through the floor with nades, whether over walls with C4, or even just Coffee doing what Coffee does, being able to pull that victory out of a hat, per se, and just perform what can only be described as light magic.
Absolutely.
I mean, do you have anything else to really add, or any closing thoughts for you?
It's been a fun season. I had a great time losing most of the games besides this one. I think our first and last. It's been a great time.
I
Been
mean,
enjoying
fair
it.
enough. I can only imagine, though, the caliber of the rest of the teams you guys have gone up against, considering what we watched today, seeing how well you guys were able to traverse the other enemy team and be able to play against them. I can only imagine the teams that you've had to face to come to this point. And I applaud you.
Yeah, UIEC, fun game.
Oh, you'd love to see it.
If I can ask something, when that, because obviously, first match went to you, second match went to Lindenwood. As the third match on Villa, as it went into overtime, what was going through your mind? What was going through your team's mind? Like, what was the collective thought process?
Personally, I was really worried we were gonna throw that game. As soon as it went to OT, I was like, oh great, here we go again. Time number, 13, 14, lose a game, but managed to keep it together. Coffee, Shaggy really showing up in those overtime rounds. Really helped out.
I mean, it definitely, I feel like, comes into the mental of best of threes going into that last map overtime. It's nothing to trifle with. You know the experience of going into map 3 and having that like very tense, very wrenching last couple rounds because this is it. This is the bottom of the barrel and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But all of the previous rounds, previous maps coming into your mind, having those situations of, oh, I remember when this happened on Oregon. I remember when this happened on Border and it didn't quite work out for us. And having that worry, having to move through that, I know that feeling very well, is having to deal with that mental and being able to push through that to come out ahead and to be able to get that motivation. And as soon as you get that man advantage, as soon as you get that ball rolling downhill, all of that slips away. All of that is immediately gone out of your head and you're like, we got this, we can make this happen. And you did.
Yep.
Well, do you have any other questions, Lucas, that you can think of?
I was gonna say, obviously, both you and Lindenwood played a very, very good game, very closely contested game. Do you have anything to say to the Lindenwood fans that are a little heartbroken that they managed to pull it into overtime and just ever so narrowly lost?
Yeah. First off, Rain, dude, he was a little tough to deal with a lot of those rounds. But overall, it was a good game. Well placed teams, kind of near each other's skill levels. It's definitely more enjoyable to play those kind of games than to face a team like UIUC Orange or like Akron. One of those teams just getting absolutely destroyed the entire time. It's not fun at all.
I mean, fair enough. Definitely makes sense and is always a lot more satisfying to have a close victory rather than a slaughter. I mean, unless you're the team doing the slaughtering, that can feel good from time to time. It really depends. But otherwise, we will get out of your hair, Butters. Thank you for joining us on this post-game interview, and congratulations on your win. It was a very hard-fought one, and it was very well done in itself.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Of course. And a couple closing thoughts. Again, April 29th, we got that charity event, and you're able to sign up in the Discord for anyone who feels like they want to come and help support. We'd definitely love to see you there. Without further ado, my name is Platypus, and I am going to be hopping out of here. You have any closing thoughts, Lucas?
Not a lot. I figured I would just let Butters say, just anything he wants to close the video with. Anything else you got, or?
Ooh, you get break privilege right here. You get to close this out.
I'm just gonna say Coffee is the guy. He is that guy.
He's the guy.
He is the guy.
Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll catch you later.
Yeah, have a good night.
I need a scarecrow after what you did, 'cause all of the birds know that I'm almost dead. I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more to break. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside